Hello and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight, at main topic, we're going to do an evaluation of the Spurs squad. We'll talk about the 115 charges Man City have received, and we'll do a preview of Glasgow Rangers away. Right, so without further ado, we don't do long intros here at Spurs Diehards. We've got two very welcome debutant guests on the show. We've got Eugene. How are you, Eugene?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
That's fine. No, you're more than welcome. Rinketic, how are you? You're on mute, mate.
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
That's fine. Mark, how are you?
All's good, Adrian. All is good in the world.
And I'm as fit as a butcher's dog, right? So now this is we're going to talk about the squad first. This is actually our existing squad with the youngsters. Admittedly, it's two less for Europe because of our squad ratio issues, right? So what we'll do is we're going to go through the squad one by one, see if our guests want to keep or sell these players, right? And I'm sure we'll all have different opinions on different players because it's subjective, whoever you like and dislike in the squad. So, all right, we'll start with Eugene. Eugene Vicario. Are you? I mean, not just whether we keep or sell him. Are you happy with him as a goalkeeper at this football club? I mean, like,
overall, I'm happy. I mean, he definitely needs to improve on the set pieces, get stronger. I feel like he'll get better with time, but his shot stopping is elite, and that's for me is the most important thing. So, I would definitely keep him, but we do need some competition for him to push him to get better. So keep with the caveat of getting a backup that can push him for that first team spot.
Are you familiar with any other goalkeepers at the club, though? I mean, like Josh Keeley or Gunter?
Yeah, they're young, right? We're giving out 5-year contracts, and they don't play for us. I know Gunter has a lot of potential. At least that's what I hear. I haven't watched him play, but they're 18, 19 years old. Austin is not good enough. I think we need a veteran for the next few years until Gunter is old enough to step in. But for now, I don't have anybody.
I watched every under 21 game last year on Spurs playing, and I like Gunter a lot, like what I see. But he is young, right? But Rinketic, mate, what about Austin? I mean, he didn't do too badly pre-season friendlies, did he? Do you like him or not?
Yeah. I prefer Gunter over Austin, but like in general, like how old is Austin? Like, he should be like 25, 26.
Yeah, he's got to be 26. He used to be the England under 21 goalkeeper.
Yeah, like I know like goalkeepers, like they get better with the age, but it seems like he would never get to that level we need him to be.
Yeah, there should have been a lot of noises about him before he's got to 26, shouldn't there? You know what I mean? Like, Mark, your take on the goalkeepers before we move on to other areas?
Sorry. Vicario, yes, he's very good. Like shot stopping, excellent. But, it's that if you could somehow clone or combine Forster with Vicario, Vicario's athleticism, like with the saves, and Forster's ability in the air, because even though we lost, right, the Chelsea game, when Chelsea had a corner and they floated it into the box, how nice was it to see Forster come out and claim it? Because with his arms, he must be about 9 foot in the air.
Yeah, no one's going to push him over either.
No, he's a big old unit. So if you could like somehow mix the two of them, you got a perfect goalie. Anyway, we have some comments to go through. Is that the goalie's done? Is it?
Yeah, do the comments and I'll come back.
Yeah. David Clark. Good evening.
Hi, Dave. Regular friend of the show.
Yeah, that is the only one at the moment. And he said Vicario keep.
Okay.
And Vicario needs to eat more meat and lift more weight. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we got 7-8 viewing at the moment, so it's early days into the show.
Yeah.
Right, let's go back to the squad. Eugene Spence. Do you like this player? We haven't really seen a lot of him, have we, to be honest?
That's a tricky one. Personally, from what I've seen, I like him, but it's not an accident that 3 different managers or 4 different managers don't rate him. Conte and Ange are completely opposite, sides of the spectrum, different styles, and neither of them rated Spence for some reason. I don't know what that is. We can definitely use him in the squad right now, or we need him, but for some reason, just managers don't rate him. So I'm sure there is something that we don't know about, but personally, I would keep him. And plus, he also got a five-year deal, which is confusing to me. I'm not sure why he got a 5-year deal, but we don't play him. That makes no sense either. So personally, I would keep him. I want to see him play, but I'm not sure what Ange is thinking at this point and why he's playing time.
He does count as homegrown.
Yep, maybe
So
that's what it is.
It could be that. He did play very well. Well, he was at Middlesbrough, wasn't he? Under I forget. And he had arguments with him. He then went to Nottingham Forest. Played very well against Arsenal in the cup game, wasn't it? Yeah. And he's been to Leeds and he's been abroad and he's come back to us. So apparently his attitude's changed. Well, it must have been to being given a 5-year contract, unless it just was for the homegrown, which I doubt they would do it just for that. So he must have shown something. And
I've just swapped us about Adrian, so the guests are at the top, all right, and so the banners and that cover us up.
Yeah. Rinketic, Porro, for you.
If I want to sell him, or
keep sell, or you like him, you want him to stay at the club. That's what we're doing with every player as we go through.
I like him, but the thing with Porro is I wouldn't mind selling him if a good offer comes in. But then again, I'm not going to talk about the man upstairs, but in general, if we manage to find another good right back, I don't mind selling Porro.
Well, we have all this time of year with the rumour mill because the January transfer window's not too far away. We'll be linked with every man and his dog as usual. There was rumour that Real Madrid for him, Porro, that were in for Romero. We'll come to him later. But Porro's contract runs to 28 because he came in a January transfer window under Conte. So it runs to 28. So if we were to sell, he's not going to be sold cheap, that's for sure. And there's rumour that Madrid were also looking at Dalot and Trent because they would be cheaper options than dealing with Daniel Levy.
And Trent's contract goes out in the summer.
Yeah, is it out in the summer? Well, there'll be no shortage of takers for Trent, even if he is on a wane or not. That's sort of Porro. So your take on Porro, Mark?
As I've said on here, how many times now? He's a wing back. He doesn't really suit the system. He gets caught up the field all the time. He's not the strongest in defence, which isn't his fault really because he was a wing back. And as a wing back, the sort of defensive responsibilities are they're not as strong, are they, as if you're a proper traditional right back. So, I've said, I don't know how many times I've got to say it, he's another one of those square pegs in a round hole. To be honest, I mean, nothing against him because when he goes forward, he looks fantastic. He's a bit weak in defence. He's always he just goes, he's not very strong in the tackle, is he? He's a bit wishy-washy in defence. So, I mean, if a top right back comes on,
available,
and we can get a top right back, sell him if Real Madrid want him, just fleece him for all the money they got and sell him.
Because at the moment we're either using Gray there, aren't we? And Spence, Rinketic on Porro though. I mean, I don't know if people know it's like me. Me and Mark disagree on this a bit because he does invert. I've always said that Udogie doesn't invert. When he does, it's rare. He doesn't invert as much. But do you think that affects Johnson's game a bit? Because when Porro and Decky was playing on the right last season, they used to get overloads down that right-hand side. But with Porro cutting in, Johnson's isolated. If you give him the ball, he's got more chance being marked by one or two players, isn't he? I mean, like, I just think playing him. There is something to what Mark says about the inverted fullbacks. It's too small a sample for me to judge it.
The thing is, like, because we invert Porro, like, and Johnson likes to be in the mid, like, quite central, like a second shadow striker, kind of.
An inside right, an old-fashioned inside right.
And there's like a big space on the right-hand side because both of those guys goes inside. But if like Porro stay wide and just come forward, I actually think he would do more damage, like towards the other teams than if he inverts and stuff.
Eugene, on the right-hand side thing, I mean, Decky's found himself being put out there again recently. I think through injury as well as through like necessity as well, just to give us a bit of stiffness down that right-hand side. Because if you've got Johnson and Porro on the right, I mean, if you're an opposing manager, you're going to attack us down that side, aren't you?
Oh, for sure. And yeah, with Porro, I think with most of the players on the list or in the squad, the only way to evaluate them is to make an assumption or to say, do we like them personally versus whether they fit Ange's system, right? So as Mark and Rinketchik said, Porro by himself is a good player, but he might not fit Ange's system, and right. So if we have a chance to sell him, the question is if we keep Ange or if we sack Ange and bring somebody else in. But as far as Decky on the right, I know we all talked about how he's much better in the middle, as a 10 or as an 8 even. On the right, he definitely helps out Porro. We're definitely more solid defensively with Decky on the right. However, he lacks pace that we need for a winger, and his best attributes are not being utilized if he's on the wing. So it's a lose-lose, right? When Decky's in the 10, he helps us a lot. He helps with the press as well from the 10 spot. But then when he's on the right, he helps out Porro, but then he doesn't cross, and he is, we lose a lot of the attributes that we need from him. So just because it's a lose-lose situation.
If you're in the chat, we'd like to hear your
I put a comment in there, Adrian. I said we were going to do the defenders, and then we'll go through the comments to see what they think of the defenders. Right. But I'll whiz through them now if you want quickly.
Yeah, whiz through, and then I'll come back to you. Yeah,
Chris. Love Porro needs to stay. His ain't that bad. Yeah, I think that's meant to be XG. Is that XG? Is the best in Europe?
No, AG, assistant goal.
Oh, is it? Oh, assistant. Oh, I've never heard of AG. I don't know. It's one of these. I don't know. It's one of these.
GA. It's flipped. It's AG, GA.
Oh, is it? Oh,
okay.
GA. Oh, yeah. Right. Porro keep for the next manager who will play him as a wing. Well, yeah, that's it. It depends. It depends what happens. Because
we will be talking about Andrew.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got loads of questions and banners. Yeah. Eugene, back to the
hang on. Sorry. Yeah. Right. There ain't many more, Adrian.
Okay. No, that's all
right. Yeah. I agree with that. Oh no, that was me. Udogie Sell. Well, he's another wing back, to be honest. And then we have the Queen.
All right. Hello, Ellie. Hope you're getting better soon. Come on.
Yeah.
Keep taking tablets.
Yeah, there we go. And that's it for now, Adrian. There we go.
Eugene, Romero. Been a lot of noise about him recently. There were rumours about Real Madrid. I was looking at all the reports today because, like, I like to be objective and impartial, you know, and a lot of what's been said has come from more than one source and been blended together. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen any of this, like, you know, but the general consensus around him is that some people say, oh, he's, you know, navigating a move out of the club. Well, if he doesn't sign a new contract in the summer, I would sell him anyway, right? Because he's got 2 years left rather than a run down. I mean, I'd love to keep him. I mean, personally, I think he's our best defender at the club. Others have different opinions on him. That's fair enough, right? What's your take on all this noise around Romero? And would you keep him?
I'm torn. When he came in, I was a huge fan. He's definitely our best defender. He's the most versatile defender as well. But having said that, I'm really disappointed with his leadership, given he is an assistant captain. I'm disappointed that he puts his country first, which makes sense. All the Argentinians and Brazilians play for their country first and then the club. But that plays into it. And this season, he cost us a lot of games. Not a lot, but at least 3-4 games that I recall where his individual mistakes cost us points. And I'm not even talking about tactics. It's just this, like, the Arsenal game when he didn't mark, what's his name? Gabriel. And just he seems to check out once or twice a game, and that seems to cost us. Mm-hmm. Whether his head is turned, whether he's not happy, I'm not sure. But I just recall under Conte, he did not like Conte. He didn't like his system, and he said, if Conte stays, I'm leaving, which is fair, which is fine. But if that's the case, I expected more from him. He publicly went on to defend Ange, which is great, but his game so far this year hasn't shown to me that he's playing for the badge and that he wants to be a leader on this team. But you can talk a big game. He has a great resume, but on that pitch, I'm disappointed in what I've seen. So if he signs a new contract, great. But I agree with you, Adrian. If he doesn't, and the way he's been talking, if we get a good bid, I would sell him and bring somebody else in.
Yeah, it'd go for 80, 85 if there's as many clubs out there that can afford to fork out that sort of money now. Yeah, I mean, he is
a lot of money for a defender.
Yeah, he is a fantastic defender. Yeah, he would be hard to replace. He's not a leader, in my opinion, because he doesn't marshal the back four. Like you said, with goals. I mean, the second goal against Newcastle away, we had Dragusin actually played everyone onside. Udogie wasn't tight to Murphy, and Porro was there. I think he was trying to play the offside. Then they get the break and they got the goal, you know. At Brighton, you could say he was upfield on one of his runs when we conceded, but a lot of these poor goals we've given away, Rinketic, a lot of them, I mean, like, they're schoolboy errors. They've got nothing to do with the system. It's just because they've all been in a penalty area when we've had 6, 7, 8 players back. I mean, like, so I'm not going hard. I'm not going as hard on. I like the player, so I'm biased because I like him, right? But I like him because he's good. You know, that is the thing. He is quality. I mean, and last season he's picked up him and VDV. They pick up less yellow cards because of the high line. Because when you're playing a low block and a mid block all game long, you've got to make a lot more tackles. There's more chance you're going to miss time one and get a yellow card. And I think Romero's got 1 yellow card this season, right?
And actually, Adrian, if I just
go on. That's what you're here for.
Sorry, I think that's an issue for me, which is weird. I know in the past Romero was always a red card risk, but I like to see aggressive Romero, even if it costs us a red. I like to see that. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but this year he is not as aggressive as in the past. And I think that takes away from his game. I think we need, even though it might cost us a red once or twice a season, but we need aggressive Romero. And this year, not only is he more timid, as you said, he doesn't organize the back line. He checks out. I have no idea what's happening. I just think his head is elsewhere.
I said, interesting point you picked up on the aggressiveness, right? I said 2 seasons ago on a podcast, right, at least, right? The squad then, even to the squad now, I said back then, there aren't enough aggressive players in this Spurs squad. Even though the squad evolved to now, there still aren't enough aggressive players in the Spurs squad. An aggressive player is one that fights for everything, right? Now, you used to see it in the past when you have 2 players tug of war with the ball. It's my throw. No, it's my throw. And they're waiting for the linesman, the referee to say this way or that way. And you move things quickly and you snap in the tackles and things like that. And even in this squad, I mean, you got 4 workhorses in like Sarr, Bentancur, Decky, and Solanke. They're your workhorses get stuck in merchants. But all right, Romero can be aggressive. I wouldn't necessarily say any of the other back 3, the regulars. Porro, I wouldn't say is aggressive. I wouldn't say VDV's that aggressive. I wouldn't say Udogie. I've seen him get stuck in with some tackles. I want to see more of it because he's only a kid. You know what I mean? But we don't have that. Well, we don't have. Well, let's not go on too much on this. I mean, we do lack aggressive players in the squad. I don't see that changing too much because I don't think there's going to be many changes to the squad. We've got 2 kids coming in January, like Yang Min Hook and Luka Vaskovic, who looks the real deal to me, what I've seen of him. But yeah. Anyone got to say anything else on Romero?
Adrian, could it be that he's more like timid because he knows like we play in the back too?
When he was out in Italy, he used to step into midfield as well. Like he's got forward for us and got 5 goals last season. He's not timid. I actually think he finds the game a bit easier. Argentina improved immediately. They brought him into their squad, before they'd won anything, right? He improved their back line, probably being more aggressive. He come to us. I mean, remember after fans wanted him out. Oh, he's a psycho. Get rid of him. I mean, you can't have it both ways. I like aggressive players. Always have done.
Yeah.
Take your yellow card in the squad. Always like the aggressive players. We all like Roberts. Name quite a few. Back in the day, and like it's like the whole leadership thing. I mean, I'm old school. I'm not so mad on leaders because you can't. How are you going to motivate another person alongside you to play, right? All you do it is by, like Decky's done this season. You just play by example. He's been our best player. Weren't too clever in the last game, but like he's been our best player. So you think, right? Look what he's doing. He's only 23 or 24 now, right? And what about you, 28-year-old Bissouma and Maddison? What are you doing? So I mean, I'd like to see more aggression in the side, but personally, I don't think the players are there. We need them, which is in midfield, basically.
There's a few comments on Romero coming in. If you want me to
do them.
Run through them, yeah. Sell. David saying sell him.
I think. Actually, I think if we had a proper 6, I think that would protect Romero a bit, and I think he wouldn't. I think that would make his life easier, and I think he would improve. Just the way we are right now with 2 8s, he has to do a lot of work, and maybe that's why he gets mentally exhausted, just trying to cover for everybody. So.
I don't think the system helps Romero. To be honest, when he's just like batter on his own with Van der Ven or whoever's next to him, it can't do. Yeah, I mean,
he does lead in a way that everything goes through him at the back. At Chelsea, it used to be Rudiger. He used to go to him on the right. Now Romero, everything goes through to him. And if you notice, even if people don't like the player, that's fair enough. That's your opinion, right? But if you notice, whenever Dragusin's playing alongside him, or whoever's playing alongside him, unless there's really an opening on their side, they're always looking to give the ball to Romero to progress play. Our other centre-backs don't progress play.
No.
They'll lump it forward. I don't mean lump it in a horrible way. They'll pass it forward, right, at times if there's a lot of space on the wing to give it to a player. But they don't progress you up the field. And that That was noticeable when he went off against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. A few more comments to get through, Adrian.
Do the comments.
Right, Spud.
Big up, Spud.
Evening. Big up, Spud. Always here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got Potato. Hang on, I've scrolled too far. Antinium must be good. Yeah. Well, what system do Argentina play? Do they play three?
Otamendi plays alongside him, doesn't he?
Oh, they play a four at the back as well, do they?
Martinez plays. Martinez and Romero. I think Otamendi. I think he's on the bench.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So Lisandro, Romero, and then I forget who the fullbacks are.
It's hard enough keeping up with the Premier League without international teams.
Yeah. And we don't need Romero's type of aggression. He rarely tackles without giving a foul away.
I take it David's not a fan.
No, obviously not.
I think we've got good on. All right, but we're moving.
Hang on, no, just a couple more. During the World Cup, Romero was dropped. Was he? I don't know. I can't remember what happened yesterday.
He didn't want to come off for Spurs, so you get conflicting reports, and you
He
didn't want to come off for Spurs when he done the ligament in his big toe. This is now quite 6 weeks then. So that's just a rumor as well, right? So we'll know a bit more when Ange does his press conference tomorrow, pre the Rangers game Thursday, because you got to take a lot of these reports with a pinch of salt, especially the transfer ones. I mean, they're a sort of a joke, right?
I take it David really isn't a fan. If you look at the last comment, sorry.
Fair enough, though.
Look, any centre back who plays in the Prem has to be good in the air. And sorry, Romero is a liability.
Do you think so, David? I think he's good enough. I think he's better in the air than Van der Ven. Van der Ven for his height should be better. Dragusin's good, which we're going to come to him now, actually. Rinketic.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Dragusin. What have you made of him?
Oh, that's the Argentina one, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. There we go. There's Argentina's back four.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, Romero. All right. Yeah, Tagliafico. Yeah. The fullback. Yeah. I thought we were going to get him once upon a time. Don't know how old he is now. He's in Holland. He was playing in Holland, wasn't he? He was.
He's in Lyon now.
Oh, right. Rinketic, Dragusin. What's been your take on him since he's been at the club? And keep or sell? His agent keeps trying to sell him every 5 minutes. Florin Nene or whatever his name is.
I understand why though, because it seems like he was kind of brought in like a lie kind of thing. Like he was going to come here and play a bit, but we never really play him. And like he did well against Man City and. Was it Bournemouth who played before Chelsea? And
it was.
And he was okay in that game, and then we dropped him against Chelsea.
He also got sent off against Karabag and was the one who played everyone offside for the second Newcastle goal away. So I mean, and he does look very good in the air from what I've seen, and he can progress the ball and move with it. Eugene?
Again, it depends if he's good for Ange or for or for somebody else.
All right.
If Ange stays and we play the same system, I'm not sure if Dragusin fits. He's a good old school defender. He's good in the air. He's a good tackler, but he's not a great passer. He's not as press resistant as Romero, for example. He cannot do what Ange wants defenders to do from the back. So we've seen games, especially with Davies and Dragusin, we can be easily pressed by other teams and we just lose the ball. So he's a great, or not great, he's a good defender, but in Ange's system, I'm not sure if he does what we need him to do. Can he improve? Maybe. But as of now, not sure if he's a great fit.
Right. Rinketic, you disappeared. That's why I went to to Eugene. With a defender like Dragusin, an old score as they call him, this is when you do need a number 6 that can progress the ball upfield, because he's not going to do it. Van der Ven's not going to do it if they're playing together, if I'm assuming Romero's not in the side. So you really need, this is when
Or
you need a number 6 who can take the ball and progress you up the field from them, like, you know.
or just don't invert the wing backs, because both Porro and Udogie are quite good at driving the ball forward. And like if they like bomb forward instead of like inverting and stuff, like they can at least go forward, pass it around, and then. But that's not like Dragusin's fault. Whatever happens after that. But I actually think if I were him, I would actually want out, because like he barely plays, and I feel like he gets mistreated by this club right now.
Yeah, you need to be in good form to get a mood and someone to come along and buy you, and he's been a bit mixed. Mark.
Yeah, Dragusin, I honestly feel sorry for him, because, all right, we never had the best results. Well, we did against Man City. He played against Man City, brilliant, right? He did, even though we lost against Bournemouth and Ipswich. Was he in the side against Ipswich at home? I can't remember, but he was definitely in. He was definitely in the side with Davies for Bournemouth away, and both of them were fantastic. If it weren't for them two and Foster, we'd lost that game 4-0 against Bournemouth, right? So, but honestly, I really do feel sorry for him, because he's put in some good performances when, you know, Romero and Van der Ven's been out, but as soon as both of them are fit, out you go, son. You know, I understand why his agent's like on the phone every 5 minutes, like trying to get, because, you know, but on the other side of that, if you look at him when he plays for Romania, he's fantastic. I remember watching him from Romania, and he was probably their best player. You know, so I feel sorry for him. I mean, personally, I can see him wanting to leave. It's not on about us selling him.
Okay. Right, we'll move on. Rinketic, VDV, Spurs fans player of the year. He wasn't mine. He wasn't. I'd pick someone else. I'll tell you later. Because you like this player, obviously. Obviously, he's not going nowhere. We know that. But what's your take on him?
I think Mick is a good player, but I'm also afraid, like, because of the high line, how many times he will get injured at Spurs, and if that will like affect his decision to stay, like, because like we know, like, he had injuries before, but it's not like the same. It seems like it's like every 6 months now. And and he's my age, like 23. So and it's like the start of his career kind of thing. So
I actually think.
Sorry, Adam.
Well,
I ask you guys something about Dragusin.
Yeah.
If Juventus need a centre back and he knows like the Juventus system, would you let him to go on loan to Juventus for 6 months?
No, I wouldn't let him go at all. I'd keep him, because when we are on a low block, at least he puts in some excellent blocks, right? And his positioning, it can be a bit questionable, but the reason I moved on to VDV, because VDV's always looked good when he's got to run a player down, whether it's over a long distance or a short sprinting distance, right? Gets the tackles in. He did it recently, right? They took him off on the arm and said nothing wrong with him, just felt a bit tight on his hamstring, right? He hasn't played for a while. But VDV, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the player, these have got such high ceilings, you know, he's got such a high ceiling. But even his positional play, he's looked good in a high line when he's had to chase people down, the crowd have cheered. But when we're in a low block or defending, his positional play, I mean, he's been questionable at times. I mean, like, I'm not going hard at him because he's a kid, but it's a fact. Against Brighton, that second goal, I mean, Udogie was behind him. He should have done better. And like he has been in areas where he should have been better. But I think that just comes with experience, you know.
That's what you get for buying a team full of kids, isn't it?
Well, we got 11 players under 24 years of
Well,
age.
there we go. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I mean, this is what I was moaning about all summer. About, like, you know, I'm sure we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Eugene, VDV?
I mean, I agree with you, Adrian. He's still young, right? Defenders usually peak at 27, 28 maybe.
Yeah.
So he definitely has room to grow. I mean, he has a potential to be a Netherlands captain, maybe Spurs captain. But as we all know, with hamstrings, once they go, they go. You know, as we saw with Sessignon, and there are many other examples. So unfortunately, I think he's going to be struggling with injuries his whole career, which is very sad because I like him as a player. So, I mean, I would definitely keep him, but we need a starter quality left center back in the squad. And we don't right now. Ben Davies is not a solution, unfortunately, even though he's been okay.
We're going to come up with Ben Davies because he likes him, right? So,
Yeah.
I like Ben Davies. I mean,
regarding left centre
like
back, I would love to get Hincapié in because he can play left back as well, right? The Ecuadorian, I think it's 24 now. But what I've seen him all, you'll do. But you never know until you get him in the Premier League, though, do you? You never know how they're going to turn out. Mark, Ben Davies.
But then, Adrian, right? If we bring in somebody else who's good, we're going to have the same issue as with Dragusin, where he might feel mistreated if he doesn't get playing time, right? Because we know if everybody's healthy, Van der Ven and Romero are going to play. So if we bring in Hincapié or anybody else of his caliber, I'm sure that player would want some guarantees as far as the playing time is concerned.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think that'll happen. I don't think we'll be bringing in a centre-back. We know our most urgent priority is a left-back. And the reason was because before we even picked up these series of injuries, Ange in an interview said, I'm not interested in bringing a centre-back in because I don't want to block the path of Ashley Phillips and Luka Vuskovic. So, here's Colin. Right, so.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
What, Cole?
Hey, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, got busy this morning, ate lunch, and then fell asleep like an old man.
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. So, yeah.
Welcome to my world, Colin.
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, that was delicious.
Ring
go sleep for
Ben Davies for you.
Hang on, you were going to give me Ben Davies.
Go on then.
Yeah, right. Now, Mr. Ben Davies, right? Mr. Consistent. Mr. Consistent. 1,000,000%. Every time he gets called upon, he's at 7 out of 10. He's never a 9. He's never a 3, though. You know, he's solid, right? Is he good enough to be starting for Tottenham anymore? Probably not. But when you put him in there, he does the job. And personally, he's in his last year now, or next year's his last year?
This is his last season.
This is his last season, right? Personally, I'd extend his contract, right? Give him another year, right? But on the pretense that he's not going to be playing, he does his coaching badges and keep him as a coach.
Colin,
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, hey guys.
We're not going back over the other players. Ben Davies for you, and then we move on to another player, right?
Oh, I love Ben Davies. I've been saying for years. I think you know that he's undervalued. That you know he's. This might sound crazy. He's been vital to us. I think just because of the way that he stepped in at times. Sorry about my cat. The way he stepped in at times during injuries, and you know, I mean, I think that we'd be in a much worse place without him these past few years. So yeah, I'd keep Ben Davies as well. He doesn't need to be anywhere near the starting, you know, like your starting choice. But I do think that,
coach material.
Definitely, yeah. He's got it up here. You can tell just by the way that he kind of makes up for his deficiencies in speed and strength and stuff sometimes with, you know, positioning
and I believe off the field, he's very intelligent. He's already started doing his coaching badges, I believe.
I wouldn't be surprised,
I think he's got business degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
Me, all right, I'll finish on Ben Davies before we move on. I would get rid of him at the end of the season.
Hey, hang on.
Hey.
No, I'm serious. Look. It's not because he hasn't been. Look, the thing with these good players, he's been with the club 10 years, played over 300 games. He's a legend in my mind, right?
I got the power to mute you, man.
Look,
No, I'm only joking.
he's probably a multi-millionaire out of his time at the club, right? And look, we have to look forward to the future. And he's not one for the future. And as much, I mean, the club may keep him. That's only my opinion. The club may keep him on for another year. It depends what happens in January and what by the time we get to the end of the season, right? So, but as we stood now, if you asked me to be cold, I'd say no. Let him go. Let him go in January. Unless he's going to be a coach, well, I'd let him go. I'd really thank him for his service as well.
In January, you would let him go? No, about somebody else coming in.
In summer.
Oh, okay.
We can't afford to let anyone go in January the way our injuries are piled up, right?
Heck no.
Well, let's move on to.
I think Ben is one of the nicest football players I ever met.
Yeah.
When
does he ever moan?
A bit too nice.
When does he ever moan about not playing first team football? You never see him in the paper moaning and groaning.
Mm.
That's a fact.
Under Nuno, didn't he go to Levy to complain?
Mm.
Oh, hang on. Oh, he might have done.
He might have done.
I'll just be quiet. I'll put myself on mute.
No. If he did, well played. If he did for that, well played. If he went about Nuno complain. Eugene, your doggy.
That's a tough one as well. Has a ton of potential. Like him a lot as a player. I felt like last year he was really good, but after the injury, and so far this year he's been a really up and down. Just like Romero, he cost us some games, makes some silly mistakes. Not sure if it's fatigue. Not sure if he just hit the wall, and he needs rest physically and mentally. I'm not sure what it is, but he's been really up and down. And I've been a bit let down by his form. Of course, it's on the club not to have a backup left back. So now he has to play almost every single game. So I would definitely keep him. He's the one for the future. Whether he fits the system, that's a different point, right? Whether he's a wing back, and he would excel in the back three as an attacking wing back, or whether he fits what Ange is trying to do, I'm not sure. But as a player, talent-wise, potential-wise, I definitely keep him. I'm just afraid we're going to ruin him and his confidence if we don't have anybody else to give him some rest.
Yeah, that is the issue. We haven't really had someone who could fill in as left back. So most urgent position to fill, I think. Rinketic, Udogie, and then we'll move on to a different player with Colin.
He's kind of like Porro. Like, I don't mind if we sell him, but then I want like a proper replacement and just not like play Ben Davies there or some other left back in the league. Because I feel like he's good going forward, but defending is kind of meh. So yeah.
Again, he's a wing back. He's another one that was brought in for Conte as a wing back.
You know my views on a wing back. If being a wing back means you're absolved of defensive responsibilities, I don't want you in my team.
No, but it's two different positions, Adrian. We've had this discussion.
But hold on, but so wing backs don't defend then?
Well, they have some defensive responsibility, but not the same as.
It's a new Ponzi descriptive narrative.
Well, all right.
Wing back, but to me, I mean, like you are wing back. The clue's in the term back, part of that, and like not for me. I mean, you get a lot of these arguments, Solo, because like Liverpool fans, they're like hit and miss over Trent, aren't they? Going forward and all that, you get all these sort of arguments, and like so it's subjective. Like it's only an opinion of mine. But we'll move on because we've got a few to get through to Colin, and we'll talk about Sarr. You're keeping him, Colin. You're not on mute, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely keep Sarr. I really like him. He's a young guy. Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Well, when this channel first started, all I said about Sarr is he runs about a lot, but he don't actually do a lot.
I remember that was the argument.
Yeah. I said he runs about a lot and he don't actually do much. But now,
Mark, we've had a lot of players like that at Tottenham.
Yeah, but now, with another year, with another like 6 months, year under his belt, he's like, he's starting to show. He's still young though, so he's just coming into his good bits now. So,
what type of player do you see him as, Mark? If you had to like compare him to a player, past or present, who does he remind you of? Anybody? Or is he just his own thing?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Patrick Vieira, Mark. His style. I mean, like, he's got a lot to live up to, but I mean,
he's I mean, in the future, could he be that midfield general? Possibly, but he's still got to develop. Honey, what's he now? 23, 22.
Like I'll have to look it up. But see, I can't decide what type of player he is because he's got
I can't decide either.
Yeah, he can do kind of everything right now.
He's the fittest player at the club. He's definitely box-to-box 8 minimum, right?
Yeah,
minimum.
Yeah.
Whether he develops into something else, I don't know either. Right?
I'd like him to see him get like stronger and tougher
I can even almost see him as like a 10. I know that's crazy because it's not exactly what he does, but
he scores against Man City, didn't he? And then he put the through ball to Son against West Ham. Sonny was about a yard inside her half, and he runs in. I mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot more to come from him.
I'd like to see him like bulk up a bit, get that, and be that midfield general that just bosses the midfield.
I love Sarr. Just I don't want to be negative because I like him as a player, but
go for it, man.
I haven't seen technical improvement from year to year as much as I hoped. Like there's some games, I think the Bournemouth game, the Fulham game, his passing is shocking at times. And in the final third, he's still he doesn't have that the IQ to really contribute in the final third. So my only concern is at this age, his ability on the ball should be better, and I haven't seen.
You mean like a heavy? You mean like the fact that he's got like a heavy touch in him every once in a while? You know what I mean? Like he's not.
Yeah.
Whenever
and the passing is
the ball,
off. And like at 22, like when he was 19, we all spoke about him. It's like, he's a young player. It's going to improve. But now at 22, he's not that young anymore. So my concern is at that age, I think you either have it or you don't. So he's always going to be that good box-to-box player. He has the engine. Great character, but I don't know if he lacks the technical ability to really be that elite midfielder that we need. This
is a fair comment here from David. Like, he does. Yeah. He needs a senior play. He needs someone like just take him under his wing. It's a shame that we still never had someone like Moussa Dembele or something. Imagine learning off him.
Is what's his face still around the club? Why can't I think of his name? He was coaching Yaya Toure. Is he still around, or did we let him go do something else? Because
sure.
If you needed a midfield,
we have a goalkeeping coach in Rob Birch for the first team. Then you've got Matty Wells and Ryan Mason, who are ex-players and they're coaches. They're both highly rated because Ryan Mason nearly went to a Belgian club to run it, didn't he? And then you've got Milo Jedinek, who came from Villa with Lange. And then you've got the other two guys, Nick Montgomery and Serge Raymondo. They had success in Australia with a team out there. They came back to Scotland, right? They managed the Scottish under-21s together. And they were at Hibernian together, got sacked there. But, we know there's no money in Scottish football. We don't know the reasons. There could be multiple variables and why they got sacked while they're at
This is a fair point as well, yeah.
We still took them two on because they're such highly rated as coaches. Yeah. So, and we have seen on the field free kicks and corners. And
this is a fair point here as well. A young player will always look worse on a poor side.
True.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
And he needs, it's not just he needs experienced players with him. He needs the experienced players to be around him or by his side.
Yeah.
So whoever's the pivot. So you want to go through the chat, Mark? And then
that was it. I've been bringing the chat up.
All right, then Rinketic, Bissouma. keep, sell, whatever.
Sell. I don't
Yeah.
like him. And in general, I never really liked him. And then when he did the balloon thingy, that was like the last straw for me.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Rip up his contract.
He's not. He's one of those players. When he's good, he's very good, and when he's bad, he's bad. And the thing with Bissouma is, where's the consistency? And he's saying like, "I'll do better. I'll show my real self and all that." And Ali Gold hit it on the head. Show your real self. You're 28. He's 28. If you can't be consistent at 28, when can you be consistent? I mean, I'm with you. I'd get rid of him in the summer. Because the thing about getting rid of players, their squad's under stress at the moment. It's just about holding it together under the stress test. We'd be outfield aside. But so unless he smashes it somehow the rest of the season when he gets playing, and he may get dropped on Thursday against Rangers because Bentancur can play in that game. And I love Bentancur personally, but it's another one we'll come to. Eugene, Bissouma.
So we won't get a good offer for him. I mean, Conte didn't rate him for a reason, and Conte said that he couldn't understand the tactics, I believe. That's what Conte said. It just feels like he relies on his natural ability, but he doesn't have enough of a footballing IQ to play within the system, and that's why we see the inconsistencies. I don't like him as a player. I would sell for any fee. Just get rid. We need some consistency in the midfield. We need some leadership. We need, we need players that we can rely on game in, game out, and he's not it. So,
what I want to know is what happened to the player that he was at Brighton. I mean, like we were.
I was just going to say that, Con.
Yeah, we were all so excited to get him. I mean,
was he the player at Brighton? Was he? I mean.
He bloody was.
It was a different system at the time that might have had something to do with it, but was he as consistent? Was he as consistent at Brighton? Was he though? I mean, I don't know if he was or he wasn't.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to say that I watched him. A couple times a year. The two times we played him, and then I might catch another match or two. You know what I mean? So I can't say I'm like the most expert opinion on that.
Well, I was going to
stay with you, Colin. We'll move on to Ben.
Well, just one thing on Bissouma. When he's good, when he's really on song, he gives me them Moussa Dembele vibes. He really does.
Makes it look effortless.
He really does. The gliding past players like you used to see Moussa do, but it just doesn't happen very often. And when we signed him because we got him on a pretty cheap from Brighton, it was only 20 million.
25.
I was I was like, what bargain we got here? But turns out we just would have pissed it down the drain.
And I'll be the first one to say, not like to be mean to anyone who thinks the opposite way, but I don't really care about the whole balloon thing. I mean, like people do stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And he paid his fine. He got in trouble by the club for it, even though it wasn't a lot. But anyway, that was all handled, and that's fine. I just care more about your football. I know that sounds terrible, but he just hasn't. It doesn't look like he cares.
Colin, stand with you.
Yeah.
Same with you, Bentancur, right? Back to his ACL best, and then we get all this rubbish.
Yeah, and speaking of people and getting in trouble for stuff, I mean, what's the deal? I mean, I don't know. I feel like this whole thing with Bentancur has been odd. From the length of the punishment to the length of time it took them to come to their deliberation on the punishment. That whole thing's been weird. But I love Bentancur. I used to do and I still do a lot of shows with Jose. Jose rants and raves about Bentancur, just always has something good to say about him. And, saying he was the closest player to world class we had in our team. And up until Kulusevski's resurgence, I think that might have been right. Bentancur is great. I think he offers us something that no other player in the team does, which is the ability to be that holding player. I don't think that's all he can do, but I think he's got the ability to play that almost number 6 role, whereas none of our other players can really do it effectively. So.
I agree with you on the sentence being wrong. Not that he didn't deserve to be punished for what he said, but when you see what Bernardo Silva did, right? I don't know if you guys see the pictures, and it's pretty recent. It's not that long ago. It might be a few seasons. but notice he posted a picture of a black boy with a black chocolate caricature next to it, like chocolate, right? With guess who to Benjamin Mendy when he was at Man City. And for that, he got a 1-match ban and a £50,000 fine, right? That's all he got. Now, if you're making a flippant remark like about Asians, oh, they all look the same, or Koreans all look the same, that can be an off-the-cuff remark. If you're posting a picture of a black boy and a picture of a chocolate caricature, that is premeditated. And to me, that's much worse. It's much worse. And so to make an example, because you want to push I don't mind you pushing the anti-racist agenda. I've got nothing against that at all. But to make an example, when you've got to do it, you've got to set your stall out and say, like, right, this happens again, this is going to happen. Right, but then we get a player who gets like a massive ban and $100,000 fine. To me, that's not justice. What's happened? It's not justice. I don't know. There was some saying they can reduce the ban by 1. Would the club only go there if it's by 1, or if they found some other legal technicalities? But he's missed 2 games now anyway. Rinketic, your take on Bentancur?
I think it's all right. There are better midfielders out there I like, but I think he's still one of the best players we have. So, like, he's one of those, like, I would keep until we can find better.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Eugene, Maddison.
Oh, man, he's
an enigma wrapped up in a puzzle, isn't he?
Just thinking of him makes my blood boil. I think he is the definition of Spursy. I think he encapsulates our team and the weak mentality that we have. When we signed him, I was super happy. He is a great talent on his day. He could be elite, if not world class, but he has 1 good game in 5. He gets up for big games, as we saw against City, but smaller games, he's missing in action. When we need somebody to actually step up and be that player, he's nowhere to be found. So he's really inconsistent. At Leicester City, we were told by their fans as well. He gets hurt. It takes him a long time to, get fit again. And then when the going gets tough, he's not the player to actually have the team. Like, they're passengers and they're bus drivers, right? He's not a bus driver. He's a passenger.
Yeah.
And I would get rid. He's not the mentality that we need.
I mean, I totally agree. I know Angie's hands is false for who can play now because they're injury list and that. But like you've alluded to, I mean, Bissouma and Maddison are not dogs in war in midfield when things get going tough. When the going's tough, they can melt. If we can pass through presses and it's working for us, it's fine. To me, they're like flat track bullies personally. On they play well when everyone else plays well. Right. Okay, Colin.
Should we answer this question quickly?
Go on in.
Yeah.
Question, lads. Why wasn't Enzo Fernandez banned for singing racist songs about Mbappe? Seems 1 rule for Spurs and 1 for everybody else.
Because
that's quite true, actually.
Yeah, well, it's these silly rules, which they should all be the same across the board, European, world, as well as like your local FAs, because he was there. That was on a FIFA competition, so it comes under FIFA's jurisdiction, whereas our FA was slow, so they're obviously pushed by any anti-racist brigade that are out there. I'm not against that as such, but it was the length of time before it was brought,
right?
And then the punishment was given out, because that smells of a lot going on behind the scenes, right? To me, so it's different rules. I know it's all hypocritical, but it always seems to come back to bite us more than any other club, right? But that's it. He's under FIFA rules. If it had been in the recent Euros, it would come under the Euro rules, not our FA. Our FA wouldn't go near it. So our FA can't do nothing to Enzo Fernandez. Right?
It was just unfortunate that his ban got landed, right in the busiest time of the year.
And it stinks to me. To me, that smells funny.
Yeah.
It does stink. Yeah.
I mean, if they just had 7 games at the beginning of the season, he'd have missed, what, a couple of months worth. Like 7 games over Christmas is probably December. You know what I mean? You know, it's when they're all bunched up. We got like 3 in 7 days, and that's just league games, without like cup games and Europe games as well.
Right, moving on. Rinketic, Kulusevski.
Oh, I might get. I think he's kind of overrated.
What?
Be careful.
Let me say. Come on. Let me say. Come on.
Yeah.
Why?
No, the thing is, like, no, it's more like, okay, he's good with the ball and stuff, but I don't know where we got this from. Like, nowadays, a player is good when he works hard. Like, probably like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that was something like you needed to do. And like if you worked hard, that's when you were good. That wasn't like really a trait. And I feel like, well, he works hard and he works good for teams. But for example, I have a few, but for example, during the Bournemouth game, I know he played on the wing, but I have a few like screen pictures of it when he like screws up and do like random stuff on the pitch that I feel like he should never have done if he was like a very, very good player.
Some might argue that against Luton away last season, when Bissouma got sent off and VDV scored, he was the one that really got us that 1-0 away win. There's been other games when he's held the line for us. And I think you can't take out his assists as well and the goals. He scored recently, didn't he? Right.
He's. Oh, sorry.
If I can just go back to this comment here about Maddison, right, David? He obviously lives in Leicester. I never got a say on Maddison. I believe with Maddison, especially, the system don't help him because he's crowded out. I mean, he's not the player that, because you notice he drops deep a lot, and he's not the player you want dropping deep. You want him up in the number 10 role, and that is where he's on fire. The system doesn't help Maddison out.
But tactically,
to be honest,
when Kulu started being moved inside, Kulu could put more pressure on your opponent's defense than Maddison can. So Maddison's come deeper. I think it was also tactically to stop him keep getting kicked, because he's got more space. He has got more space, but he's got to make the best use of it. He's got more space playing behind Kulu, and if you've got Sarr or whatever there, right, whether it's Bissouma, Sarr, whether it's Bentancur when he comes back, who's another 8. But I mean, like, I just think, no, I think the position's best for him. It worked well enough. It's just like subjective.
Yeah, it is, and it's all like subjective. And
also, Solanke and Kulu, they lead the press. Maddison, he doesn't really do that. So if Andrew wants his players to press, we already have Sarr and Johnson on the wings who don't really do the pressing. So it's all up to Kulu and Solanke. So if you have Maddison on the pitch, we're very easy to pass through.
And I mean, you were saying that, you know, Kulu works hard and you know, his hard work is, you know, it takes more than that. But whenever, I think it's also different whenever he's the one player in your entire team, or not the one player. You know, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic here, but he's the one player that's trying hard. So whenever he does it, you know, you recognize the importance of that. You know, you see the importance of a player that will work their socks off. But more than that, Kulu's got a tenacity. So he's got a little bit of a deficiency where I feel like he's really, really, really reliant on getting the ball onto his left foot. He's done a lot better of a job recently with adapting to that. And then also he's got just this stubbornness where he will like refuse to let the ball go away, refuse to let the ball go out of play, refuse to, you know, have the ball taken from him. I don't know. Kulu's, it's not just the fact that he works hard. It's the fact that the ball sticks to him so well. You know, everyone compares everybody to Musa, or, you know, I do. And a lot of Spurs fans do compare people to Musa Dembele, but he's got like a weird, I don't know, or Harry Kane. He just retains the ball as well as any player I've seen at Spurs in a long, long time. He can, you know, score goals. He can assist goals. He can play striker if you need him to. I don't know. I think Kulu's a special player that I don't think I think you don't notice him till he goes. I think you take Kulu out of this squad, and I think we look absolutely terrible right now.
At present, we would, wouldn't we? Because we're not in the best of form.
No.
Right.
Well, to be honest, with Kulu, we got to say is he's Sweden captain now, so that just says it all, So move on, Adrian.
Rinketic, Archie Gray. What's your take on him?
I feel like he has also been mistreated by the club and lunch. Like
Mistreated.
I actually had this, because he barely plays, and when he plays, it's like for 5-10 minutes, for like 5 minutes or 3 minutes or something. And didn't we promise him that he was going to get game time? That's why he picked us over Brentford, or I might be wrong.
Been given games.
I heard something.
He has started games,
but he hasn't really played that much for us than I thought we were going to give him. That's the thing. I feel like he's right now, like I would rather play him over Bissouma, for example.
In that actual midfield spot instead of somewhere in the back line or
I was going to say he's played in so many positions. I'm expecting him to be in goal one week.
You keep saying that. If it actually happens, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, but you never know. Yeah,
Eugene Gray.
I like Gray. I mean, I do feel like I'm afraid he's not gonna develop as he needs to if you play him everywhere in every single position. But on the other hand, I don't think Ange has an agenda against him. It's just he's the only player who can play in multiple positions, and we're short everywhere. So that's why Ange puts him on the left, on the right.
And I think Ange sees it. And I'm not trying to put words in Ange's mouth, but I'm sure Ange is just happy to be getting him on the pitch in this system. You know what I mean? Like even though he's not in his preferred position, he's still seeing, how the system works, how, where you have to be. I don't know. I think it's still beneficial to have him on the pitch, even if he's not playing in his preferred position, because he's getting used to the extreme style that Ange plays.
For sure. And also, I mean, if you look across the world, how many 18-year-old sixes do you see?
No
you
kidding.
don't.
Yeah, for
be
sure.
a six,
Such an important role.
You have to be a man, right? Like, maybe like 25, 26, you have to be developed and you have to have the understanding of the game. Yes, I want to see Gray as a six, but it might be a bit early for him to play some heavy minutes at the six. So it's kind of, it's a lose. It's not a lose-lose, but I want to see him there, but he's not ready.
My take is I haven't got Rinketic's fear of being ruined. He's going to get a lot of game time. And the reason he's going to get a lot of game time is because Andrew's shown how much he's trusted him to actually play him at left back, right back, and centre back. That tells you, reading between the lines, that Andrew really likes the player. It doesn't mean he's going to play him in every game, because he's got a squad. He's got to drip feed players in from ear to ear. I mean, so I think Gray's future at Spurs is secure. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I think playing in the Championship has done him the world of good. When I see him play there, I thought, he looks a standout performer, in those positions. Bossed the game against Chelsea when they played them in a cup, whatever. He looks, and he's quick. He's good in the air. He's got a biting tackle. His recoveries are good. I mean, I just look at this player, I think, but we'll see. We'll see.
No, right. I think right. Oh, no, carry on, Eugene.
Yeah, I just think one fear, Adrian, is if a player starts playing multiple positions and becomes a utility player like James Milner, for example, then managers going forward, they don't see him as a six per se, but they put him everywhere else, and then that stunts his development. And just going forward in his career, he'll be known as a utility player versus a six.
Well, he played 30 games at Leeds at right back. He played 3 as a number 10, I think. and he did play in midfield as well.
Hang on a minute, Adrian.
That's because they had injuries, though.
Yeah. Those 30 games at right back for Leeds was only because they had nobody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But he did all right there. He still come out of the Championship with either being the
with Archie Gray,
second best player or something like that. I mean,
no, with Archie Gray. What was I saying when this channel first started? It's all right bringing all these youngsters in. I had no problem with bringing all the youngsters in, but we needed experience and players that was going to improve our first team the minute they walked in the door. When we signed Gray, 40-odd million, did he improve our first team immediately? No.
Absolutely not.
He didn't. No, because he was 17, 18, whatever he is. The club is obviously going down this by the youth project and all this now, right? This isn't going to improve us immediately, right? We're going to have to wait another 5 years. Now, the stadium was built so we could compete with the top clubs for the top players, and we well and truly haven't. I mean, signing a bunch of kids ain't going to improve you immediately. Right, it might do in 5 years, but I might be dead in 5 years. You know what I mean?
No, don't be dead.
No, but you never know. But you never know. You know, I mean,
for sure. I'm with you.
When the fans pay the highest season ticket prices in the country to go to these games, you don't pay the highest season ticket prices watching the 21 game. You know, which is what we're becoming, unfortunately.
Right. Let's move on. I'm going to skip a few players up front because they just haven't played enough time for us to do a fair assessment of them. Bergvall, Eugene. Actually, he had 100% pass completion against Chelsea the other night. Funny, when he came on, he didn't put one ball astray. And yet the previous game he came on away, I thought he was rubbish. But I
mean, he has potential. I mean, I like him as a player, but similar to Gray, he needs to get playing time with other established players where he can learn from them and where he can be protected a little bit. Because right now I feel like we throw him on with Gray and, with our second. And he's 18, 19. I think the talent is there. It's just a matter of the development. So I would keep him definitely. I like him a lot. And hopefully he can develop. But
these young kids we brought in, they are kids, but their parents must have stuck them in grow bags and put them in a greenhouse when they were young.
He's 6'2"? He's a big guy.
6'2". They both are. I mean, he's 6'2", Bergvall's 6'2", both are 6'2".
Just 1 minute, Adrian. James, you had the link. I sent you the link, mate, if you want to jump on.
So, anyone else want to say something about Bergvall?
Well, we're just keeping him, aren't we?
The group, actually. Is he better at the 10 or at the 8? I'm not sure what his position is.
Shit, I couldn't even tell you. I mean...
No.
Well, throw this in, guys. Called Ali Gold and sees him more as a 6.
As a 6?
Okay. Honestly, I can see it. I don't think he's ready yet. He's definitely not ready for that yet.
Yes, no. I mean,
Bergvall. Did you say Bergvall?
Yes, I said Bergvall, and so.
No.
I was sort of not astonished, but surprised, when I heard that Ange sees him more as a 6. So this discussion must have taken place. So maybe we may have 2 6s in Bergvall and Gray, or maybe they'll alternate when they're in the side in both positions. Who knows, right? I like the player. I watched him at June Gardens. Watched all the video clips to get him. I really like what I say. Then he played a game for them in Swedish League and it was rubbish. When I watched it.
Hang on a minute. Here we go. James is coming in. Ali Gold said
play as a 6.
He can play it.
Yeah, it's
my goodness.
I mean, he could, but
so can I.
There's no way he's a 6.
I thought Gray was going to be the number 6. I thought Bergvall was like an 8-10.
Right.
You'd think. I don't know.
That's what I was under the impression. I don't think Ange really knows what's going on. to be honest.
It wouldn't be that upsetting. I mean, it's still fairly early times.
Well, yeah, but it's like I said. This is what happens when you just throw a load of kids in there. I mean, nobody knows where their true position's going to be because they're still young and they're still developing. I
know you want to say something.
Oh, sorry.
I watched Daiwan play like in real life and stuff, and I felt like 6 no, but as an 8 box to box would be something, because like I felt like every time he could win the ball and he could still like dribble and stuff, but I felt like we haven't really seen that at Spurs at all. Because in Sweden, like he was taking people on and he was like, tackling people, but I haven't really seen that at Spurs. Maybe because of the game time, or I don't know. But still.
Yeah, I see.
And when you get limited game time, you want to be careful, I feel like, and you don't go out there and do, take as many chances as maybe you would if you were kind of an established player, because any mistake that you make will then be like scrutinized even further because you're getting so little game time. So that could be part of the issue.
I see him as an 8 and 10. I thought he looked really good in the second half pre-season. Funny, in the game that Gray got bullied against Bayern Munich, when Bergvall come on.
He did look surprisingly good.
He came on second half. He looked every inch an 8 or a 10. I mean, he's got it all in his locker. He looked I don't see the 6, but then I don't see him in training. So, I mean, but he has got a tackle on him. He can stick his foot in. He can claw a ball out of situations.
He looks a very skillful player. Yeah, but in all fairness, Adrian, at the end of the day, all the youngsters were just keeping them anyway. We're not just going to sell them out, are we? We're going to wait till at least we're 50 million before we sell them.
I was going to say until the big offers start coming in.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a couple of years. It'd be a couple of years before Daniel lines his pocket with more money.
We'll skip.
We're going to have to
go on.
I want Odegaard to work out, man. I don't know anything about him though. That's the thing is
that's why we're skipping him, because
well,
all we know is he came from the PSG academy. He went to Burnley. Vincent Kompany eulogized over him, loved him. At that time he had the same stats as Nico Williams, but Nico Williams has won a final with Spain. So you're taking Nico Williams every day a week, aren't you? But I mean, I just need to see more of him. It's too small a sample to judge him. Yeah,
agreed.
Too small. So we'll move on to a guy who's again he's becoming a bit. We'll move on to Son. Mark, Son.
I know we've had this discussion yesterday, I believe, Adrian. Now, Son, yes, I love him for his service. He's been here God knows how long, but I'm not being funny. He's dwindling. He is dwindling. I don't care what anybody says. For the last few games, what has Sonny actually done? Absolutely nothing, in my opinion.
I think he's got 5 goals and 3 assists.
But like you know,
he actually had a couple of dribbles. I actually noticed a few dribbles in the most recent match.
To be honest, he really doesn't offer a lot anymore. Right? Yes, he's still fast, but Father Time is catching up with him. And I've said it on here. A few weeks ago, I think. If this was Man United under Ferguson, Son would have been sold 2 years ago.
Well, yeah.
Because
a lot of things would be different.
Yeah. But I mean, personally, Son's probably still here for the shirt sales and the fans he brings in from Korea. Because he makes Spurs so much money. I mean, I haven't been for a while, but whenever I go to the ground, the fans flocking into the club shop, and I haven't looked the stats up, but I bet Son sells 50% of the shirts in that shop.
Right now, for sure. I mean, with Kane gone,
probably more. To be honest, because people can go in. The odd one's going to go in and get a Maddison shirt or a Van de Ven shirt, or but I bet. Well, I've seen pictures from inside the shop, and where they got the shirts with the names already printed on the back, there's rows and rows and rows of Son shirts, and then you might get like a few at the end with all the rest of them on. But Son's coming towards the end now. He really is. I don't want to be harsh on him because I love the guy, but it's the way it is, I'm afraid. So personally, if I'd sell him in the summer, to be honest, thank him for his service. Say, look, when you're finished, come back as an ambassador. Do something like that. But he's, he can't even last 90 minutes anymore.
Rinketic, Son.
It's just, to be honest, the things I was going to say, Mark already said it. Like, we're paying a big wage, but it's also because of the money coming in and stuff. And the thing is, like, I don't know why this money thing and so, like, if Levy were smart, like, he could go for, like, Mitoma or someone like that, but he doesn't. And it will still be the Asian market. Instead, we go for that, what's his name, Young, who's coming in. Yeah, he's coming in January.
He's coming in this month. This month he's coming in.
This month.
Vasquez is coming in January because Vasquez isn't 18 till the 24th of February. So I don't believe either of those players are going to be loaned out. They'll be kept with the squad because we need every player we've got.
Right. Eugene, have you got a jump?
Yeah, sorry.
Boys. All right. Thanks for coming.
Eugene, thanks for coming on. We've got your details. Yeah. We'll get you back. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Cheers, Eugene.
Cheers. Yeah. So, Maddison, I give him the extension. Why? Because, if you're going to be a top club, or say, like, behave like a top club, put it better, words better, you've got to have 6 forwards. You've got to have 6. If it's 2 for every position. So 2 number 9s, 2 wingers, and Sonny, like, Son's just good now. I mean, like, when he's streaky, when he gets goals, he gets them in clusters. Then he doesn't score for a while, and then the noise goes up around him, right? All the time. Oh, Sonny's finished. He's done. He's never finished a season when he ain't scored loads of goals. Last season he finished with 16 and something like about 9 assists. Well, I wish Werner could do that, and like Johnson may do that this year, right? And Solanke, he's not a player that makes things happen. But he is, and you can score from low crosses, as you showed against Chelsea, right? Which Johnson did pass to him, But no, I don't think we have no choice but to give him the extension because until the squad involves and we bring in other forwards, I just think we need him. That's my opinion. Anyone else got anything to add on Son?
You kind of said it all. I mean, he does though. He does make things happen. He does sometimes. I don't know. He's been contributing a lot in the build-up, I've noticed recently. Especially I noticed it in the game against City and then in our most recent game that I don't really want to talk about. But he did this awesome thing where he'd be on the left and then the ball would come to him and they do these cool like little flicks and like one-time interchanges between, either Destiny and Son or whoever. But it was cool seeing us just progress the ball up the field, with such pace and so quickly. And I think Sonny had a lot to do with that. Could another player do what he's been doing? For sure, yeah. But yeah, I just think that's something he's kind of added to his game. I don't think he usually has been a whole lot of help in the build-up. No offense to him. He's just, he's a decent enough passer, but he doesn't like pick things out. He's not super creative in his passing. Though you did say he had like 9 assists last year. But yeah, I've been really impressed with his help in the build-up play recently.
Yeah. Right. We'll move on then to Rinketic Solanke. What's your take on him since he's been at the club?
Kind of what I expected because I wasn't happy about the signing at all. And but it's kind of what I expected. Like he wasn't gonna like not score at all, but I didn't believe he was going to be like a 20 goal scorer, like in general, like overall. I thought he was going to be another Richarlison, which kind of has proven me right currently. But yeah,
I think in another
see.
system he would score more goals. I think in this Ange system, I think Ange plays a system in which his strikers don't seem to score tons of goals. But maybe that's, I don't know, not so much the case. But I mean, he's just asked to do a lot of pressing. He doesn't camp out in the box. He doesn't, you know what I mean? I feel like if he had the liberty to do that and kind of just hang out in the box, anticipating those crosses, being kind of more of the focal point of the attack. I mean, he's the focal point of it. You guys probably, hopefully know what I mean. It just seems like he's tasked with a lot of things that aren't normal striker duties.
No.
It mainly just pressing so intensely, but he's been all right. I think just as good as I would expect him to be, and not in a bad way. I mean, I think that he's got a certain skill set, and I think we're actually using it to the fullest extent. I mean, to the most extent that we could by, using him to kind of hold the ball up, to get other players involved, to press the other team, to make their back line uncomfortable. I think he's been great at that. And I know he had that one good season last year where he scored tons of goals, or 15, maybe it was only 15. But hey, even if he doesn't score that many goals, I'm still happy with the contributions he's making to the
team. Okay. Mark Solanke?
Well, he's not going, is he? Because we've only just signed him, So he's not going anywhere. I can understand why the club bought him because of what we're expecting him to do. I can see why they bought him over Tony, because there's no way Tony would run about like a headless chicken, closing down like Solanke does. And to be honest, like we said in the summer, he is the perfect striker for the Ange position. It's like Colin said, the strikers in Ange's system don't score that many goals. It's normally a low cross into the box and the left-sided or right-sided player on the back post, i.e. Johnson, is the tap-in merchant on the back post. So, Solanke, he's not, let's face it, right? You go from Harry Kane to Richarlison and Solanke, who I put on about the same level. So you're never going to replace Harry Kane, are you? To be honest, he's. I'm not old enough to remember Jimmy Greaves, but Harry Kane's the best striker I've seen at the club in my lifetime.
I mean, I wanted Dusan Vlahovic. A lot of Spurs fans wanted Gyökeres of Sporting. I think it's Sporting or Benfica. The Swedish striker that's been banging him for fun, although he didn't start very well when he was at Coventry City, but he seems to have kicked on and matured. He's not. I've seen so many good strikers in the decades of Sporting Spurs. Thing, and he doesn't excite me. He's just a hard worker.
This is true as well. This is true as well about what David's putting. If you want, like that comment, that's very true.
Also, David, it works out about 1 in 64 crosses result in a goal. So there can be a bit of a myth with crosses into the box. You can still Google that and see if it still stands today, because I would have picked that stat up a couple of seasons ago. Right, so we're on. Right, oh, here we go. Colin Richarlison, you keeping him? Yeah. Spare parts?
Nah, he can go.
He can go, yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Get him out of here. I mean, I like him a lot. He's been a fun guy. What was weird? I mean, like a lot of players, I hated him before he came here, and then I learned to love him because, as you do. But honestly, it's just time for him to go. Hopefully, he has better luck somewhere else. I honestly think if he went to any league besides the Premier League, he could probably keep himself fit and enjoy his football. And I hope he does. But yeah, just get him out of here, though.
Rinketic, get rid?
No. Like, yeah, he's overrated and he does nothing really except getting us offside goals. So.
Fine. Okay. We'll move on to Brennan Johnson, Colin.
Oh, definitely keeping Brennan Johnson. I think while he's not the player a lot of Spurs fans wanted him to be when we signed him, i.e. like that player that is going to, beat his man and just beat his man. He's just not going to do that. But we have seen the fact that he is going to score goals. And that's honestly, if he does nothing in a match except for score a goal, I know that's not, it's not the outcome that you would want. It's not perfect, but at least he's scoring the goal. He's shown that he can do that. And maybe we're seeing a bit now of what Ange has seen in him, during training and why he wanted him so badly. And so, yeah, I would definitely keep him. I think he's only going to get better with more confidence as he's shown. And keep please for me.
Mark Johnson.
Now, come on. As you know, I am the chairman of the JDL in the Tottenham on Tour group, Johnson Defence League. Right now, with Johnson, he scores a lot of goals, but the thing, I might be stripped of my chairmanship, right? What else does he do apart from scoring goals, right? He leaves Porro exposed. That is my criticism of him. He doesn't get back to help him. Right, yes, he is a tap-in merchant, but other than scoring goals, if he does score a goal in a game, he ghosts the rest of the game. You don't see him. He does nothing apart from, all right, scoring goals is a big part of it, but when he does score a goal, if he scores in the first 10 minutes, you guarantee you won't see him for the next 80. Virtually guaranteed. He just goes missing, mate. Is he good? Is he the best player that I've ever seen on the right for Tottenham? Definitely not. Is he good enough? Is he good enough for the ambitions we got? Probably not, to be honest. So, he's as good as we got at the moment, though, isn't he? If only he could get back and help Porro out a little bit. That's not a right back in the first place. Let's get that in there.
He's got 10 goals, and I think 6.
Yeah.
I didn't want him when he was first bought. Everyone knows that in a lot of podcasts. But I've warmed to him. I thought when he was under that intense pressure, when we were away at Coventry in the League Cup, we were going out, and that took composure to score that first goal and chip the keeper. And I hadn't seen much of that in his first season, apart from all the blasting the balls wide and over the bar. I thought so. He's shown more composure than Werner has, and then he's also scored a few quality goals again, which were good finishes. Right?
James is there. Let's add.
All right. Where's he gone?
No, I added him in. You take him out.
No, you had him. Go on, add him then.
Yeah. All right. Oh, James.
All right, James.
Evening.
Good evening and welcome. Yeah. So with Johnson, I've warmed to him, and Mark calls him you're in his defence league, Mark. You're calling him a tap-in merchant.
No. I am chairman of the JDL, but I also call him out as well.
Right. I didn't want the player when he first come. I've warmed to him, right? But having said that, he's shown composure. He's shown he's got something about him. He has got good technique, right? And some of his finishes have been excellent. Some of them have been excellent. And I think it's easy to sneer and call. I know you're a fan of this, but it's easy for other fans to sneer and call him a tap-in merchant. But when I've watched him, right, you've got to get into the positions. That takes awareness. You've got to time your run. You may get the tap in. Now, if you were stacked from a corner and you just bang one in, tap-in merchant, right? But no, I think he's got. Look, we all want him to succeed. He's got loads of levels. James, good evening. What's your take on Brennan Johnson?
I think he's bang average, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I think he's average. I think he will get his tap-ins, but I think other than that, I think that's all you're going to get. He's not going to be the sort of player that's going to pick up the game and scruff of the neck and win it for you.
Okay. Let's. Colin's gone as well.
No, he's doorbell.
Oh, is it?
And I think Rinkett's got to go as well.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
but he's turned his camera off. Yeah, well, I'll answer him in the private chat.
Now, I've seen a lot of this guy because I watched all the under-21 games last year, right? Mikey Moore, James, we'll stay with you.
It's hard to say, isn't it? Really, I don't want to put too much pressure on the young lad, but what I've seen that actually wants to beat. I think he's the only person in our team that actually wants to beat a man, and I think that's going to be the most exciting thing. We was talking earlier. I can't remember the last time we had a player that actually wanted to beat his man and make something happen, and it seems like he wants to do that. So that's good. It's exciting.
Yeah. Do you think that? See, I got a theory on that, but with a lot of teams now, because it's all about press, all across the pitch, not just like it's press to get out from your own third, press in centre, press forward, things like that. And like, I just think like when you're down the wings, it's more about overloads, so as you don't lose the ball, you've got the risk of losing the ball if you take a player on rather than when you've got the overload, you just slip it past the last defender and your man runs in. Because there has to be a reason why there aren't so many dribbling wingers about there these days, James, yeah?
I just don't think football is, and I don't think we produced as footballers like that we used to. I think it was all from a young age. Get the ball and score a wonder goal. Now I think they're being taught to play as a team, and I think it's stifling most players, to be honest. I mean, a couple of years, 2-3 years ago, you had Mahrez, Jack Grealish, maybe, but they're so rare now that people actually want to beat their man and create something and open up space. And that's the biggest thing for me is the reason I believe that Johnson's not a waste of a player, but somebody that's never going to create nothing is because he never wants to beat his man. So it's okay being a tap-in merchant, but if that's quite easy to mark when we've got the ball, it's about sort of drawing players in, and I think it's the same on the other side. I think that's why, obviously, I just missed you talking about Solanke. I think if you played a different formation and put Solanke in the box, I think he would be 10 times the player that he is now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how Solanke's career pans out. He's not, as we've discussed a little bit earlier, the most exciting forward we've ever had at the club. We can name so many more that were better, right? But because they were goal scorers. That's always been my argument. Like, see, it was different. Back in the day, you'd pay your money to watch Ginola. You'd pay your money to watch Waddle. You'd pay your money to watch Bale. You pay your money to watch certain players. When the expectation that this club weren't high, we didn't think of even getting in the UEFA Cup, qualifying for Europe back in those days, because expectations weren't that much higher and the pressure wasn't so much on the players as well. But today, if we've got two wingers in my side, I've said it on many a podcast, I don't care if we've got Ronaldo on one wing and Messi on the other. If they can't score goals, I don't want them. This is why I'm a big anti-Werner fan. I know I'm not alone in that, though, but we'll come to him. But Arsenal score 90 goals and finish second in the league, and look at our side where we're getting 90 goals from. We're not. And when you have to go back to the desk, which was Dele, Ericsson, Son, and Kane. Kane would get you 30 goals a season with the cup games, 30 plus. Son would chip in with his 15 or whatever, and other cup goals. And then you'd get, Dele, when he was on form, 16, 17 season or something, he got 16 or 18 goals by the time we spanked Arsenal 2-0 at the Lane. And then you had Ericsson chipping in with goals. And we just don't have that sort of firepower in this team. We are spreading the goals out. I'm contradicting myself in a way because we're the second highest goal scorers in the league, right? But I'm talking about that punch up front. We don't have it. We are spreading it about, but we just don't have that punch. And we need six forwards. We need 6. And that's why when people say to me, get rid of Son, I get rid of, if you don't fancy the player, think he's past, fair enough. But who else have we got? And then you've got to bring at least 2 in, because who else have we got going to score the goals? We don't know if Odegaard's the answer. Manor Solomon might come back doing well at Leeds. You don't know if he's going to score goals and be the answer. Yang Min Hyuk's coming in, another winger. You don't know if he's going to be the answer. Although he scored some bangers in K-League, but that is the K-League,
But Son's not scoring goals.
No.
He's got 5 and 3 assists this season in 15 games.
Well, 5 goals in is that in all comps? Is that just?
I'd have to Google it, Mark. Go on, Google it. I don't want to mislead anyone here. It probably is all comps.
I can look it up quickly.
Yeah, so to me, I don't think we have any choice but to keep Son, give him the extension, because he always ends the season with good figures. Last season it was 16 and about 9 assists, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
he took all our pens as well, though. But for me, I think Johnson's a better player when you play Timo Werner on the other side. So I think Johnson will score more goals with Timo Werner playing than Johnson will score with Son playing. And the only reason for that is I think Timo Werner will get to the byline and cut it back, and Johnson will be there. Whereas Son doesn't do that kind of. He's not that style of footballer.
Right, now, Son's stats. In the league this season, played 12, 4 goals, 4 assists. Right, and in Europe, he scored a goal.
Right, 5 and 4 then.
Yeah, 5 and 4.
It's awful. 4 and 4 in the league. It's awful.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that is 2 of Villa was 2.
Yeah.
Everton, 2 Everton.
Yeah, 2 was that.
Was it 2 Everton, 2 Villa? So that's 4. So that's pretty much 2 games out of 12 that he scored in.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
No. I was saying, well, we done Son earlier, and I was saying, look, Father Time catches up with all of us, and Son's.
But we're like just over a third of the way through the season. You don't know what his numbers are going to be at the end of the season.
No, of course not. No, but I think if you're talking about actually moving forward, I mean, if we're going to stay where we are, I think Son fits. But I think, to be honest, Son is over the hill and down, and that's not knocking him. But I just think if we want to then go back up into top 4, one, I don't think he suits Ange's system. I think he's dead in the system. I think Ange prefers someone like Timo Werner that's fast, byline, cut it back. And 2, you know when they're starting to go over the hill, because he's missing the chances that he would be scoring left foot, right foot all day long in 2 years ago. I mean, he had 1 this week, could have put us up, 1 the last week. And, normally he buries all of them. So for me, I think it's quite hard for going back to Johnson. I think Johnson will work in a certain type of team, whereas I don't think that certain type of team is what Ange plays, if that makes any sense.
I think the system lets most of our players down, personally.
Okay, right. All right, that was good discussion. We drifted a little bit because we were on Mikey Moore. I mean, I happened to watch him play virtually all his games last season. I watched all the under-21 games. I've watched this kid. I used to go to reserve games at the ground and all that. I have never seen a better prospect at this football club, ever.
No.
His stats are mental for all levels. He's always stepped up. To me, and Ange's played him, hasn't he? I mean, what did you think of his roles when he's come in, Mark?
What, Mikey Moore? He's done well. What was the game where he went absolutely mad and they just kept passing the ball to him? Was that UEFA Cup game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his first appearance, right?
On the left wing.
And even Maddison said after the game, we just knew, just give it to him out on the wing.
They called him Neymar.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, he's going to be fantastic. But Son's top them up. We're waiting for these young players to develop into superstars. And and as I said, this is not what we built the new ground for. We didn't build the new ground five years ago, whatever it was, to buy a load of youngsters and then wait another 5 years till they develop into superstars. We built the new ground, allegedly to compete with the top teams, to get the top stars in, pay the top wages, and so far we've done none of it. So where are we going?
For England, they play him on the right, but his right foot in plays mostly on the left for the under-21s. He can play anywhere midfield. He can carry the ball forward, right? He scores. He beats players for fun. I mean, with players, wingers and all that, it's sort of, you sense when they're in the mood, they're going to take players on and get a chance. And sometimes wingers, if they're not really on top of the game, they don't do it. To me, he can play as a 10. I mean, you could play him anywhere in the front 6 as far as I'm concerned. And he's got the ability, he can just shift his... He's got... That's a big, bold thing to say. He's got similar attributes to Maradona. in the way that.
Bloody hell, Adrian.
No, I'm talking about his ball carrying midfield. He can carry it forward like a Gascoigne, right? Seriously, and his weight, when he shifts his weight, if you watch him and uses both feet, he's quick. He'd be back near the wing. When there's a space in front, he ain't lazy to pass the ball, and suddenly he'll accelerate and he'll burst into that space and he'll stay forward, jink left, right, and all that. I just think he's. I mean,
but I think that's harsh. I think it's obviously when he was playing in the youth football is completely different to first team football, isn't it? And I think he's had a good 20 minutes in the first team, and I don't actually think he's done anything else other than that 20 minutes, personally. And I'm not knocking the guy because he looks, like I said, he looks like the sort of player to get you off your feet, and that's the sort of player I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
But other than that Europa League, that 20 minutes, to be honest, I don't think he's done much.
No.
So
I'm concerned with this virus in case it's glandular or long COVID and things like this, because like we don't need another kick in the nuts, you know what I mean? Like,
and so if you're comparing him to Maradona, does that mean he's going to cheat and punch a ball in the back of the net? You know,
if we were in an FA Cup final at Wembley and Mikey Moore punched the ball into the net and VR missed it and we go and win the game 1-0.
I'm not bitter or nothing from 1986. I've honestly forgotten all about 1986.
I remember when he came to do the Ardili's testimonial and he played with Hoddle.
I hope they booed him.
No, I don't think they did because it's Ardili's and respect, right? It's
well,
respect, isn't it? Right, okay. I've seen a lot of Mikey Moore and I could eulogise about him all day long, but I like this other kid as well. What have you seen? He did score, didn't he, Lancashire, James, for us?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I think then got sent off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did get sent off, didn't he?
Yeah, he got sent off.
Yeah,
he served his ban. Yeah, the youngsters are getting sent off, Dragusin, Lancashire.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, Adrian, it's pointless talking about these. We're just keeping all the youngsters, aren't we? We're not going to sell them, are we?
A bit of info, right? From the 21s last year, he got 23 goals in 22 games. Over 30 with cup game competitions, right? They rate him. They say he's the closest thing. It's at that level when you're watching. They won everything last year. They won the league and the cup, right? The year before they were crap, but So he's like they're comparing him with Harry Kane, which is another bold statement to make, really. But he looks good, and reading between the lines, and he presses, right? So reading between the lines, you're thinking, well, hang about. All right, he's got the goals. You're keeping him, but you're sending Udogie Velez out on loan. You're sending Dwayne Scarlett out on loan, who's now banging goals in for Oxford. He's still, every time Dwayne Scarlett goes away for England, he seems to score. When I see him before this crop of youngsters come through Scarlett, and he did score, Scarlett did score a great goal against Shaka, didn't it? It's Kane's last game when we won 5-1. Kane got 4, didn't he, I think?
Mm-hmm.
So, I like Scarlett. I mean, I don't know if he'll have a future at Spurs. All these youngsters not going to have a future at Spurs, are they? They'll be sold on, won't it, and make some money out of them.
Probably.
So that's about on Lancashire. Now go to everyone's favourite player, although a lot of love returned to him when he scored against Man City. Werner, James?
Should never be in the first place.
Mm.
He's the joke. He's probably one of the worst footballers I've ever seen at a club.
Mark?
Well, exactly what James says. I mean, to sign him once on loan, you can understand because we had no one on the left at the time. But to then extend his loan or, re-loan him, whatever they did, is just shocking. Just shocking. What the hell's he doing there in the first place? It's like I've said it a million times. Is this why we built the stadium? To bring in players like that? No.
Well, we'll discuss that a bit more in a minute. Okay, I mean, I don't want Werner. My theory is we will keep him. And I think we may even buy him in the summer, which would get him more on the Ange Out brigade. If Ange is still there, then it's still with us in the summer.
Isn't he a free agent in the summer? Is it this summer or next? He's a free agent.
Yes, isn't he?
Because that's why we didn't. I don't think we bought him because he's only got 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah, and I think the fee's about 8.5 million. I think that's why it's low, right? I mean, he would probably do well in a lesser league.
There can't be a fee, can there? If he runs out, a contract runs out.
We don't know what they've signed with. If you do decide to buy him, that might be part of the loan agreement.
Yeah.
Like,
I just let it run out, pass him back, and then his contract runs out, sign him as a free agent.
Yeah, I don't know the intricate details of this loan deal, right? I mean, you've only got to look at the Lo Celso one, haven't you? I mean, like that part of the deal, if they take Lo Celso or whatever. Oh no, is it? Yeah, because that Johnny Cardoso deal, that's a weird one. We get a percentage of his fee, even if we don't take up the option to buy him as part of the loan deal.
And have you seen Audio's comment here? Looks like Donnelly's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah,
fans don't rate him.
Yeah. He came from Donnelly came from Northern Ireland as a striker, and Wayne Burnett converted him into a number 10. And last season, when he's with Lancashire, Mikey Moore, I thought Santiago would make it, and they let him go, right? The winger. Yeah. I mean, he has got Donnelly's got superb vision, right? He can thread that forward killer ball. He's excellent at that. Now, I don't know if he's got players. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Keeley scored a goal for Orient last week, and they went on and won the game in extra time, didn't he, with his header? And they went on and won the game. So, I don't know. I mean, look, then we bring him back. He's only 19, 20 anyway. Plenty of time. I'm not worried about these. Right. So, let's talk about this, right? Right. We know we don't want Werner, but I think we'll sign him just for commercial reasons, just because, like, we're not going to get him. Okay, well, let's before we do that, right? We've sort of gone through the squad, James. We've virtually said that, like, some didn't want Porro, some would sell Romero, right? And then you're sort of keeping them. I was saying get rid of Davies just because of his age, even though he's a good servant. You know, you look at him, right? Yeah.
Can we go through that list and just say keep or sell? Because I missed that what you guys said.
All right, you go through and say you would keep or sell on it, because we've done it, right? So you go through, right?
Vicario, 100% new contract. Sign him up for a lifetime deal.
Yeah. Even though Ray is better. No, I'm only messing.
Yeah, I'm leaving the stream. I would actually keep Foster.
Okay.
I think everything he's done so far, he's proven his point that he deserves. He's done nothing wrong for me since coming in, so I would keep him. Austin, I would sell.
Spence, so just give him a 5-year contract. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, exactly. Austin, I would sell. Spence, I would actually keep, but I would play him. But Ange isn't going to, so therefore I would sell it. If Ange's in charge, I would sell him. Porro keep, Romero keep, Dragusin keep, Van der Ven keep, Davies keep, Udogie keep. Sarr, I would probably sell Sarr, get some good money for Sarr. I'd sell Bissouma. I would keep Bentancur, keep Maddison, keep Kulu, keep Gray, keep Bergvall, but I'd loan him out. Odegaard, I'd loan out. I'd sell Son. I'd keep Solanke. I'd sell Richarlison. I'd sell Johnson. I'd loan Moore, loan Lancashire, sell Werner.
Right. I think this is you summing up an issue we've got. I mean, you've gone a bit stronger than us, but you've probably getting rid of, even if some are loaned, at least 6 players, right? Even if you're loaning players out, you can count them. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Round here.
Yeah. So the main ones I'd get rid of. Obviously, if I go through attackers, Werner, Johnson.
Let's blend that with this next question then. Right. Most urgent squad position upgrades, James. Where do you think we need to? I mean, this
can
is
I pick 3? Can I pick 3?
3.
You pick as many as you like.
Yeah, I'll pick a left wing, a right wing, and a number 6.
No left back?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, depending on how many we could pick, I'll pick 11. But I'd say immediately, the midfield is the most important. I think you have to replace Son, or at least have a backup and rotate Son. And I think Johnson's the only right winger we've got. So you have to buy a right winger, because Johnson, again, I don't think influences games.
No,
he does go missing, Johnson.
Mark, what positions would you upgrade on first? What would be your first position? That's always interesting.
Surely we need left back.
Mine would be left back. Would be my first.
Yeah,
position.
surely.
That question says upgrade. So does that mean you're dropping Udogie? And you think Udogie's the worst player in the squad?
No.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying upgrade position.
Additions. I should put additions rather than upgrades. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it said upgrade. That's why I said left wing, right wing, and a 6. Because there's 3 that need to be upgraded.
I mean, to be honest, right? Any players that come in, I want them to come in and make our team better, just by walking in through the gates. None of this. Let's buy bloody Archie Gray and Bergvall, who might be good, may or may not be good in 3 or 4 years. We want them to come in, and whoever's got the shirt, the position they play, right? I'm having that shirt, and you got to fight for it back.
Right, have another go, James. Then, if you want to have another go on that, then if you think that's, I'm talking about what are our most urgent position additions,
Right wing for me is the most urgent, and a CDM.
Right. Okay.
They are our most urgent for me.
Mark, left back, you said?
Yeah, a left back. It's not. Well, we got no cover, to be honest. If you're talking blatantly cover, but if the cover comes in for you, Doggy, I want him to be just as good, or even take his shirt. It's. But we definitely need a 6. That I was crying out for when this channel started. But Ange don't play a 6. Whether he's still here is debatable, But a 6 definitely, a left back, and you need someone to either bet Son or take the pressure off him, because he can't do 90 minutes anymore. He's always
right wing. Then are you leaving the right wing?
Well, obviously I'm JDL, so.
But at least on the left you had. I mean, we don't like him, but you got Werner, you got Son, and you got Odegaard. On the right wing, we've only got Johnson, maybe Kulu, but Kulu's more of a midfielder now.
And
exactly. Well, Jesus Christ, man, he's only about 15. It's like I said, I want players to come in. I want players to come in and bloody just take the shirt that's there. I mean,
he's
but whatever. But I still want players better than young Min-hyuk, and I've never seen him play.
Right.
We need experience.
I don't think he had a great year in his league either, goal scoring and assists.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he did. If you look at his goals and assists, I don't think they were very good.
He got their player of the season. Go and Google
it. That's not hard though, is it? Can you check how many goals and assists he got? I'm sure he only got 5.
The goals he banged, he scores some bangers and he gets them from outside the box. I like that Skov Olsen, but when I liked him before, this is when you can be wrong. He went from his club in Belgium. I think he went to France, an upgrade.
Is this him?
He didn't work out from. He's gone back to Belgium. He's banging goals in again. Then you wonder, when other teams take a player in, are they using them to their best abilities? You don't know, do you? Because you don't see them. This is the thing.
Yeah, I don't know where. I'm sure I read something and I thought it was only something like 9 goals, 5 assists or something like that. I might be wrong.
This season's finished. That's why, because of the monsoon season, right?
Yeah.
So this season finishes, and so they go from something like February to Christmas or whatever it is. Same as in the Japanese league, the J League. But he was voted their best player of the year last year. And but we're going to move on to this question. How many incomings do you think we're going to get, James? And this is a real issue with me. This is one of the reasons I think Werner will be signed. Because when we've gone through the other guests, they've all picked out at least 6 players they'd like to change in this squad, right? But let's be realistic. We're not getting 6 signings in January. We get 2 at best. And then you're thinking, we're going to get another 4 in the summer? And I'll come on to the transfer fee money we spend. I've got all the stats for that. But so how many do you think we'll get? 2?
2, maybe, yeah. How many do I think we'll get? Yeah, maybe a loan. Yeah, look what Audio put. His season wasn't that good. Not that good at all, really.
Oh, hang on. I'm still trying to. I'm still trying to find Chang Min-hyuk. I don't even know how to spell his name, so I've given up.
Yeah, Audio put it in the chat.
Y-A-N-G. Oh, did he?
Yeah, put it in. Look at the chat.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. point.
That for me, if your player of the season is only getting 17 goal contributions, that's not very good.
No, that's
That
not
shows
good.
you the
It's not
standards
good.
of that league.
Right.
I mean, 12 goals and 38, and you're the best player in that league.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to look at myself as I'll when I see it, I'll then make my judgment. So for me, even Mikey Moore, when people are hyping up Mikey Moore, I'm not based on what we've seen him 20 minutes. He looked good, and that was in the Europa League against Carrier-Bag. So let's be honest.
He's
He
done it
hasn't
all
done
levels,
nothing.
England level. That's the difference. I've watched him
But that's different. That's completely different. That level complete. I mean, like people were saying about Will Langshire. Well, I'd like to see Will Langshire versus Virgil van Dijk and see how that, because there's only one winner for me in that battle, and unfortunately, that's the level we're at. So again, with Mikey Moore, for me, you can't judge until you've seen it. So
12 goals in 38 plus them assists are good stats for a wide player. It was always considered that in your league, 1 in 4 was good for a wide player back in the day. Modern game now, I'm not sure, but those 12 goals and that amount of assists, I think they're good, James. But we can disagree on that. That's fine, right?
But do you think that's good in the J League? That is the best player in that league, 1 in 4.
I don't know what the standard of the J League is. I've just watched clips of him.
Yeah, for me, to be saying that he's good, I'm expecting.
But we'll see. He might flop when he comes here, mightn't he?
He didn't do anything when we played him either, did he? Really?
No. I didn't say my players in the transfer. Well, I wanted like the 2 positions. If we got 2 in January, I want a 3 and a 9. I want a number 9.
A left back and a striker.
Yeah, left back and I want a 9. I want a central striker, a proper central striker. Yeah. Rumours are we're going to be in for Jonathan David. Yeah, because he's out of contract.
He's not a proper number 9. No, he's a winger. He plays a lot more on the wing than he does up front.
I watched him last season when it was interesting. I wasn't impressed. I mean, when I watch videos, I'm looking for players that got vision, move the ball quickly, and make things happen. He's sort of. I suppose we've been spoilt with Kane, haven't we? You know, but he's not. It's like I said, I wanted Dusan Vlahovic before Solanke. I think we could have got him for a similar amount of money. They are totally different players, but Vlahovic can make things happen. And even in a poor season, he's still banging them in, right? But others wanted Gyökeres, didn't they? But who didn't do very well when he was at Coventry City, but he's kicked on since those days.
I wanted a Pender.
Oh, right. Well, from Germany. Yeah.
Oh, he's a player. And I think, again, he suits the system. Worked hard, really fast, last man player. I think he would have been good.
Mark, did you say how many you think will come in?
Oh, no, I didn't. No one else cut the kids, but we got to wait till they finish our exams. Where's the way?
All I want for Christmas is a Spurs contract.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. We all know what the owner's like. If he can penny pinch or anything, he will. You know, I mean, can you honestly? Well, you go all the time, Adrian. Can you honestly see us buying many? Because we all know what the owners are like.
So at most, if deals haven't already been struck behind the scene for maybe players at the end of their contract, like Jonathan David.
Are they going to be the upgrades on the squad though?
I don't think. I think an upgrade on Richarlison, who's never fit.
Well,
I think if we're going by how things are turning at the moment, I think it's really good. If Ange doesn't leave because of the pressure, I think that'd be very good pressure put on Levy to invest in the summer, because you can see our squad's thin. If he goes out and buys a young kid and Jonathan Davies on loan or vice versa, I then think people, because there's already people in the press and quite big names calling Daniel Levy out for not spending. I think if he done that again in another transfer window, I think a lot of people will then sort of start headhunting for Levy for not backing Ange.
Right. Well, just on that, prior to Ange coming in, depending if I usually go to Kieran Maguire because he lectures on football finance at Liverpool University. He's a Brighton fan, so he's pretty right. but depending on who you believe, prior to Ange coming in, since the stadium opened in 1919, we spent either 600 or 685 mil on 29 players, right? Don't laugh, 29, right? So on that basis, that'd either work out either 120 million pound a season or 137 million pound a season, right? Ange comes in, right? I'm going to give you the figures for transfer market now, right? This is what we've spent, right? If someone doesn't believe me, then get me another source, all right? Because I'll bring facts at you. I've never intend to mislead people, right? So in the last season, to the whole of the season, we actually spent 272.10 mil, but we sold 120.7 mil. So our net spend for last season was 151 mil, which is a bit more than our average, right? This season, we spent 93.55 million, but we haven't passed the January transfer window yet. So you expect, and unless we sell a Bissouma and get some money in, you would expect like that figure to go up as well. But the net spend up to now under Ange, his net spend is 244.95, which is like 122.5 mil, which is about our average, James, of what we're spending. This is why I'm a bit fearful going in the January transfer window, because I'm thinking like, are we going to spend any more? We badly need a left back, in my opinion, but a number 9, if we got someone in on money we saved on wages like Jonathan David at the end of his contract, I could see that happening. I'm not quite sure. The whole point, Jonathan David, I don't rate him, David. I don't rate him, but that's only my opinion. I've been right about players, I've been wrong about them. But what I see of him, I'd have to go and have a look at him, see how he's done last season. But until these transfer rumours gain traction, I'm not even going to post the transfer videos in our Facebook group, Don't want to insult the 14k members we got. Right, with just crap. Yeah. So
I think with Jonathan David, I've spoke to Brian quite a lot. And obviously he watches him being Canadian and he says that he'll be okay, but he's not special. Like a lot of his goals are penalties. So
and a lot of them are interesting to see as well.
I mean, I'm happy to take the risk, sell Richarlison, sell Son, sell Timo, bring someone like that in. But what we need to do is we need to bring our first choice target in, and he needs to be second.
So I think we need a left back, a number 9, right? We definitely need. I don't know what's happening in the right back situation at our club. Did Spence really fancy? I don't know. He signed a 5-year contract or whatever. You got Porro there as well. I've always questioned his defending, and I'm starting to question it again in recent games. Like, because he was awful when he first come against Newcastle and Leicester. We played those games when he first come. But he got better, right? Another player great going forward, right? So I'm not sure. To me, because I don't know what's happening with Spence. If Spence don't go, and fans don't want Archie Gray playing at right back, but I think the club are going to have to cut their cloth according to what positions they can fill. And left back should be the first one, in my opinion. But it's only my opinion. And then I think we need a number 9. The other forwards we've got, whether they're not good enough or not, we've got them from now. Like, we've got Yang coming in. We don't know, but we need every player we've got with the injuries we're going through, right? So centre-back, Ange did say, prior to the injuries to VDV and Romero, back a while, I don't want to block the path of Ashley Phillips and Luka Vaskovic. Well, Yang Min-hook can be signed because he's 18 legally over here, but Vaskovic, his birthday's on February the 24th. He'll be 18, so he'll be fully signed then. I don't see us loaning any of these 2 players out. One, because we need them, and the others, I think, like Vaskovic, everywhere he's been, every league he's stepped up to, he's stepped up in each league he's been to and looked quality. So, and can play as a number 6. So, but we'll see. I mean, like, I need a bigger sample on these players. I need to see them playing. It's wishful thinking they're going to come in at the ground running and do really well.
Can I ask why you want a number 9?
Why? Because then Lancashire can be drip fed in behind Solanke, and we can get rid of Richarlison.
But if we don't sell Richarlison, because he's been injured, so no one's going to buy him now in January.
Then I'm aligned with you. Then we don't go for a number 9. There's no point. There's no
Yeah,
point.
because for me, you've got Solanke, Richarlison, and Son that could all fill in there.
If the Saudis come in with a 40 mil bid for Richarlison in January, sell him. I'd take the loss and sell him for 40.
If the Saudis come in at 15 million, I'd sell him. To be honest, he ain't fit, and that's nothing to do with his technical ability either. But he's just never fit. It's like Lo Celso. If they offered us 10 million, I think you have to take it because he's not fit. You can't just have 10 million sitting there in the hospital bed. You need to get your money in and your players out. In my opinion,
I've always said your best ability is availability, and he's 100%. Just never available. He's just never available.
Well, Regulon can sign for anyone in January because he's in the last year, but Gill has still got to be paid for. He's on loan, doing quite well. Lo Celso's doing well out there as well. He's still got to be paid for. We don't know what's going to happen with Johnny Cardoso. And you've got Lo Celso, Gill, and Højbjerg. Marseille couldn't pay for him last season because they'd spent their full.
Yeah, it's the FFP, wasn't it?
So the money's got to come in from him as well. So, yeah. See, my concern with the squad is, it's like we need about 6 players, and it's not happening in January, and that's definitely not happening in January. The best, we've done well in the January window, apart from getting in Dan Juma. We've got Dele Alli in January, we've got Lucas Moura in January, we've got Porro in January, we've got Bentancur and Kulusevski in January. Actually, the players we brought in haven't been bad for January, but you're in a situation where if clubs are involved in relegation, they're not getting rid of their players. If they're challenging for honours, they're not getting rid of their players. And if they haven't got, unless they've got 3 players in that position that you're after, you're not getting a player because they're just going to need them. It is a hard month, although, Johan Langer's got to show something now with Scott Munn and the rest of the recruitment team, which are like...
I'm not being funny, Adrian. I'd sooner get rid of him and bring Paratici back.
Paratici's still working for the club, Mark.
No, but Langer's useless.
Because we've been starting to get linked with Italian players again, and we know why that is, right? So Langer will use him. I'm not averse to taking Paratici back. His ban must be up. I don't know, at the end of the season, I would have thought. But, let's move on to something a bit more controversial, but fine. James, has Angel lost the dressing room?
I think he's lost half of it. Not all of it, but half of it. I think the likes of Maddison have gone. He ain't going to want to play a few minutes here, a few minutes there. In my opinion, he's our best midfielder to be sort of dropped all the time. I think he's being made a scapegoat. It wouldn't surprise me if players like Son started to lose faith, to be honest, because, again, I don't think he's playing his formation.
Yeah.
Mark, do you think he's lost the dressing room?
Oh, I'll be honest with you. No, I know what Romero come out and said, but let's face it, being a defender with this system, like defenders pride themselves on clean sheets, goalkeepers pride themselves on clean sheets. Right? It can't be fun being a defender in this system. So, has he lost the dressing room? I don't know, but I could understand why a lot of players would be fed up. I can't say yes or no because obviously none of us know. But to me, it comes down to that system again.
Well, our goals against isn't bad when you compare it to the rest of the league. The problem is, like I've mentioned in quite a few podcasts, some of the goals we've given away have been absolutely shit.
Dreadful, mate. But we'll put it this way, mate. And a lot of our goal difference is good at the moment. We've scored more than we've conceded, but
second highest.
Yeah, yes, but like the goals, the games we've lost. If they had finishers in their team, like Bournemouth, mate, we should have lost that 4-5-0. If it wasn't for Forster, Davies, and Dragusin, we would have lost 4-5-0. It's just too open. It's too open. There seems to be no plan for defence. So honestly, I don't know whether he's lost the dressing room, but it wouldn't surprise me. Put it that way.
To me, I don't think he's lost the dressing room at all. And like, I just base it on. Well, and part of the fact is when you're players, if you had nothing to play for and you're in this situation, I could see the noise being a lot louder. But as we're in free cup competitions, I don't see players. Players, they want to win trophies, right? So, yeah.
Just 1 minute. Cobra's in the chat. Good morning,
Yeah,
Cobra.
hello, David, mate. How you doing down in Australia? You all right? Bet it's warmer there than it is here.
Yeah.
There's summer there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it. He's lost the dressing room. Players.
You know what? I mean, at the moment, I'm Ange out. To be honest with you, I think that I think he's just suicidal. I think everything that he's doing at the minute is suicidal. But even though saying that, I think he's 2 or 3 adaptations away from being a very good manager.
Yeah.
So stop inverting the fullbacks, or invert one of them, not both of them. Invert one, have one overlap, and buy a proper number 6. So when we attack, the number 6 drops back, and you've almost got a flat back 3. So when we get countered, you've still got 3 sitting back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're a number 6 and 2 goal scoring or creative wingers away from being a very good team. Very good team. But unfortunately, at the moment, it just feels like everything that he's doing, he's just shooting himself in the foot. It's like, all right, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And we all know Levy ain't going to give him all season doing this.
No, definitely not.
As I said prior to this, with players, if they want to win trophies, we're in free. They'll know they've got no chance of winning the league. They won't say it publicly because you don't do that. Why it's mathematically possible. But we all know that. Even top 4 is looking a distant mirage at the moment.
But that's very misleading, isn't it? We're still in 3 or 4 cups. That's very misleading, because Europa League, you can't go out of it yet because it hasn't started properly. FA Cup at knockouts haven't started yet. The only one we've actually gone through is the Carabao Cup. So I know people go, "Oh, we're still in 3 or 4 cups." Well, you can't be out of 2. It's physically impossible.
And you're not going to be out of the Europa League no matter what, because even though we got Rangers Thursday, you've got to look at it. All right, the top 8 go through, but
Then
should we be? Yeah. Then you've got the 16 teams below them. Me and Mark were looking at these down to 25, and the team at 25th had 5 points, Mark, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong; it'd be embarrassing to go in the playoffs, right? But so you're looking at, you've got to finish in the first 24, basically. Worst ways to get. You're right, James. To get in the next stage, you got to. So and we've got Tamworth, right? I can imagine. Let's not even think about nightmare scenarios. Players sent off and things like that, or whatever.
I was going to say, Adrian, it is an away game.
Let's talk about this then. Ange winning a trophy saves his job.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Mark?
And people that are complaining about Ange, if he wins a trophy, they have to shut up.
Yeah. Well, that shut up.
Myself included in that.
Yeah.
If he goes out and wins the Carabao Cup, I'll say, you know what? Do what you got to do. No, man, I'm wrong. You're right.
Would it have to be the Europa League to guarantee a Champions League place?
If he wins the Europa League, he's our second best manager ever. Isn't that not correct?
Third.
If he won,
he's joint with Bill Nick, Keith Birkinshaw.
Arthur Rowe.
No. He's on about the UEFA Cup. He'd be the third manager to win a UEFA. Yeah.
So if we won the Europa, was he first best manager in our history?
Yeah.
So you can't snub that. You know what I mean? If he won the Europa League for me, I'd say, you know what? You've got to give this guy 2 years to keep building. And if it goes the same, and then say next season we're 14, 15, go out of the cup straight away, then I think we could go, all right, it was a bit of a fluke or vice versa. But you have to give him that opportunity. That's why, for me, I understand if people say, look, I want to see him 10 games more. But for me personally, he's shown nothing to deserve 10 games more.
No.
On the fact, because of the growth and the progress bit, because Mark has alluded to it in the past, and others said, I wouldn't mind if we finished 14th as long as he won a trophy. No, not good enough for me, because to me, you want to see growth on the league side. Otherwise, you've still got the same problem with the league and the squad either underperforming or whatever. This squad should be doing better than it is anyway, right? But it isn't. Like, you can say some of it's down to injuries, some of it's down to bad luck or whatever, but either way, your squad's got to be big enough to cope with these situations. And that wouldn't be growth to me. It's what I want to see. This is why I'd give him that. I mean, me and Mark differ on Ange. I mean, people saying he doesn't adapt and he's too stubborn to change. Well, your system is totally different to adapting. If you've got a system and a philosophy that you play football, you stick with it and you die by your sword. If he dies by his sword, he dies by his sword. I'm Ange in because I think, one, I don't want to go through the rinse and repeat process. Well, look what happens. You sack Ange, say, Christmas, whatever it is, right? You sack him, right? Then, like, you've not got no one to bring in. All right, we've got the coaches. You've got Nick Raimondo and Serge. They coached in Australia successfully, managed Hibs, managed the Scottish Highly once, highly rated. You've got Ryan Mason and you've got Matty Wells, ex-Spurs players, highly rated coaches. I know fans sneer at them, but they've never ever seen them take a training session. So this is, when people come up with things like that, then I just totally ignore it because it doesn't make any sense to me. But that would only be good if you're intending to give those people like a 4-year contract or a pair of them a 4-year contract. Then you think, right, we're moving forward. Because otherwise that means you've then been the season and you get to the summer and now you've got to go and hunt for a manager. And like, to me, it's like, that is suicide as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a comfortable scenario if Ange were goonered. It's not a comfortable scenario for me. I don't want to go for the rinse. I'm Ange in anyway. I mean, me and Mark differed. I mean, last season, James.
Oh, I'm not Ange out. Let's get this. I'm not Ange out. I just want him to adapt.
No. Well, to me, he has adapted. James says he hasn't. Look, your opinions are valid, right? Mm-hmm. Fine, that's fine. But to me, last season, like I said, I mean, like, you win 8 games, draw 2. It's still a record. VDV gets injured. He's out for ages. Maddison does his ankle, gets out for ages. You've got Bentancur gets done for Matty Cash. He's out for ages. Bissouma, 3 suspensions during that season. Romero, 1 suspension during that season. Players away on international duty. You're losing arguably the world's best striker before the game.
But none of that is to do with him adapting.
I know. Hang on. I'm saying circumstances for last season. This is first season. What's he inherited? Right, we got rid of 16 players as well, and he finished 5th. So last season, I was impressed, not because we didn't win anything. I thought, well, considering all the circumstances, I think you've done well to finish 5th, right? Yes, Brian, you can come on. Give him the link.
I'm just sorting it out.
But you said that you've seen him adapt. What has he adapted? Honestly, what has he adapted?
Right, okay, this season, right? We go away to Leicester. You got Sonny on the left, Solanke in the middle, right? Johnson on the right. Solanke gets injured. He adapts. He puts Sonny through the middle. Odegaard comes in the left. Johnson's on the right. Bissouma comes back because he was punished for no laughing matter, right? The laughing gas, right? Next game, he changes again. Probably enforced as well. Decky plays through the middle, right? So
but that's not adapting. That's just him playing different players in different positions. That's not him adapting.
Oh, it is adapting because you are adapting if the players have got a different style and bring something different to the game, isn't it?
No, but if Solanke gets injured, Ange hasn't adapted. He's played the only player that can go up front. He's not going to put Romero up front, is he? That's not him adapting. That's him being forced.
Last season we had the argument we were playing 2 at the back. Well, this season it's been 4 at the back and 3 at the back. Most games I've watched. I see us against Chelsea during the week. We started off 4-2-3-1. We were 4-5-1 at some times during that game. I was watching the patterns.
I think when you play a team that keep the ball, we always have 4 at the back. When we play a team that allows us to attack, there's always 2 at the back. Always 2 at the back. So for me, I don't think I could show you pictures. I'll print screen loads of pictures. When we first started City allowed us to have the ball for the first 5 minutes before they countered attack and broke. We had 2 on the back and everyone was up forward. They played a diagonal ball to the left wing, a run down the wing, cut it back, and Haaland had a shot and Vicario saved. And that was 2-on-3 when they did that. So there's been loads and loads of times where they've done that. So for me, He hasn't adapted anything because for me,
he's brought Decky inside.
That's not adapting, though. That's moving a player from one position to another position. Adapting for me would be inverting the fullbacks. Now, what they do is they overlap. They don't invert. That's adapting your formation. That's adapting to win the game. You moving a player from one because he's injured into the midfield isn't adapting. That's just making a move, like it's moving a player.
No, to me, it's adapting. Even last season,
if I was coach,
Udogie
and Solanke got injured, if I were the coach and Solanke got injured and I put Son up front, I'm playing exactly the same way. Everything's the same, but Son's up front, not Solanke. Does that mean I've adapted? Or does it mean I'm just doing what I have to do?
He's adapting to changes in circumstances, isn't he? Like you do, right? And he's putting players there who think he'll do the job. His philosophy and this is the thing with me. People keep trying to conflate the system with adapting. He's got his system. He's not going to change it. No matter everybody bangs on 3 centre-backs, blah, blah, blah. And I get all the arguments and all that. But he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. So if he dies on his sword, he dies on his sword, right? Because of the way but he's not going to change. Porro still inverts. Udogie last season, Udogie doesn't invert like Porro does. Mind you, Porro's got that technique to blast a shot from the edge of the area. But where I have a problem with that inverting is the fact that when Johnson's on the right, whereas normally you'd get an overload on the right and you'd have a 2v1 because people complain Johnson don't take his man on. What you're not getting out there on the side. So he relies on the ball and he's easily marked, he's easily covered, like defenders come over to cover for him. Udogie on the other side, he plows a furrow on the left. I've seen him cut in a bit, but he tends to play more overloads with Maddison on the left if he's down there, if Maddison drifts left. But
see, for me, I will give Ange credit and where credit's due. So there's been certain moments for me, City, I thought he deserved credit. I think there's certain things that he's done, moving Kulu into midfield. I think he deserves credit. But unfortunately, in my honest opinion, I think what and this is no disrespect for you, I don't mean to offend you. I think you're trying to make things fit to make it sound better than it is. Because personally, Udogie still inverts. If you look at the last game we played against Chelsea, Werner was the widest man and Udogie was coming inside of him. Not once did he overlap him. So for me, that's not true. Porro is exactly the same. That's not true. The only difference I've slightly noticed, that it was only a couple of games, I thought Bissouma dropped back and almost made a back three at times. But that is it. Other than that, for me personally, I think he's shooting himself in the foot by not adapting. And I know what you're saying about him dying on his sword. That's just going to end in tears for all Spurs fans and him himself. Because if he gets fired for this, everyone will look at him and go, mate, you had the opportunity to adapt. You could have changed this. You could have tried this. And you've done nothing. You know, we see Bournemouth and Brentford. If they play against a team that's going to attack it, they'll say, you know what, I'll sit back. You have the ball. Feed them Buemo on a break and they'll beat us like that. But Ange does not do that.
Bissouma did sit back. I mean, at times we had a 4-1 at the back when we were being pressed and all that. But we needed a drop back anyway. But then again, like Bissouma was crap and like we couldn't get hold of the ball and get a foothold in the game against Chelsea, even though the XG of both sides was exactly the same, and we had enough chances. That could have been a 4-4 draw or something, or even a 5 or something like that game. But Son, Solanke missed chances, one past the post earlier, and all that. And it's a bit of pill to swallow because it's Chelsea again, isn't it? You know what I mean? But we had. Good evening, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. I was about to start playing charades with cousins there. I was about to start playing charades.
Yeah.
Had a good old chat. Good evening, Adrian. Good evening, Mark, and my brother.
Big up, sir.
I love dearly. Big up to you, brother.
Yeah,
I was finishing work. I thought, unless he was on, I saw you two guys were on, but I saw this brother next to me here, and I was like, come on. Let's join. I hope everyone in the chat is good. Yeah, fun times ahead, isn't it? Fun times ahead.
So what do you think, Brian? Does Ange adapt? I know you're Ange in, but do you think he adapts on game-to-game basis?
I'm James, as you know, and we speak very regularly, whether it be in a group or individually. There's an Ange in and an Ange out spectrum. For ages and ages and ages, I've been right over here on the Ange in, like right over. But I can't lie. I've got to be true to myself, like I always have. I am gravitating towards Now, I'm still not there to say I've flipped over. He's not adapting. He's not. He's putting square pegs in round holes. Listen, I used to say this. Listen, I'll go back to it with Pochettino. I used to say, if Harry Kane got injured, we missed 3 players. And the reason I say we missed 3 players is because obviously Harry Kane's out, that's 1. You then move Heung-min Son out of his best position and put him in a weaker position. That's 2. And then you're bringing in a winger to come in for Son that can't even get into the first team to start off with. So from 1 player, yes, you can move him there, but his best position isn't there. If Solanke was injured, we should be able to rely on. I'll get the prime example. The prime example. I'm going to give Ryan Isaacs, my little brother, a lot of credit for this. His dad said it as well. Ange Postecoglou gave all Lancashire a start Galatasaray away. He threw him in, so proverbially the Lions' Den, one of the toughest away fixtures you can find in European football, because we needed a striker. But he'll play him there away at Galatasaray and put a lot of pressure on the kid, but he won't give him minutes away at Bournemouth or at home to Fulham. That's the thing. It's all well and good saying, yeah, well, he did that. Yeah, like you said, Adrian, at the beginning, when you said, yeah, Bissouma dropped back, what did God do? He was crap. He was crap in midfield. He's crap when he dropped back. He's having to adapt. Or not the word adapt. He's having to do stuff because we're so threadbare, because we're not strengthened enough, and injuries. You can't knock the injuries. I have to agree with James on this. This isn't adapting. This is, you have a hole to fill. How am I going to fill it? This is adapted. Is saying, do you know what? I am going to play a back 3 because I've got 3 defenders here that can play, and I can't. Or do you know what? I'm going to try a Solanke Son up top, and put, let's say, Timo Werner, or if Mikey Moore was fit, or whoever it may be. Try a different. Listen, I'm all for him trying to play. I love the football he can. When it works, it works. This is the thing. When it works, like Manchester City, it looks like the most incredible football. You're like, oh my God, this is my team. This is my team. What a joy. Then you look away to Bournemouth, you're like, oh my God, this is my team. This is my team. I have to, and there's no middle ground. It's like Marmite, you hate it. And Spurs, the way that we all find why, if James is doing a boiler or something, to use his term, if he can't find a part and he needs to get this part done, he has to try and find a solution to not being able to get that particular fit in or whatever. So James has got to think of his feet and say, right, I can't get this, but how can I fix this problem? We're not fixing problems. We're just saying, okay, he's out, you go there. It's not fixing. It's putting a plaster on a gunshot.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. There's only like one time that
God, so James, just going to end off with one thing. Say this is the only thing. No, that's all right, bro. The only thing I will say with it is, like I said, Ange has been hampered by a lot of injuries, which is definitely having an impact. But he needs to try some other things. If it's not working, you need to fix it, especially when it's a results-based business. Go on, James, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only game you could probably say he adapted, the only one, was probably Man City last season, where he put Van der Ven left back. Again, though, that was due to injuries and stuff. It wasn't like he said, you know what, I'm going to try this today, adapt everything, try this. It was like injuries forced him to play that.
All right, we have a different perspective on adapting, but it's not.
I've said for a long time, though, with Ange, it's his way or the highway. Because there is no difference. He just moves it's like Brian said, he just moves different players. Whether that, and to be honest, half the time is square pegs in round holes. That I always say on this channel. So I've got that in tonight.
My concern is you're now having to rotate fit players, having players out. Romero's rumoured to be out for 6 weeks. Only Pape to talk at the moment. VDV, tight hamstring, or is he injured? It might be nothing. He's hasn't done nothing wrong, probably, but you don't know. I wouldn't risk him. I wouldn't risk him against, Rangers tomorrow. and I wouldn't. Well, Romero's out. If they say we know he's out, and it's not his toe, it's his quadriceps, so we don't know what the issue is there. It seems that with these injuries, though, I mean, you're having Angie's being forced to play a smaller group of players, and there's a danger that they will get injured. There's a danger that some of them will get injured, Mark, if they're overplayed.
Yeah.
He's got no choice.
No. But again, Adrian, this comes back to the man at the top, not building a strong enough squad. You know what I mean? It all roads. I said it the other night on it, right? It doesn't matter who manages Tottenham.
Well, I'm
right?
No. If you
just listen to what I was going to say, it doesn't matter who the manager of Tottenham is. They've got one hand tied behind their back when they start because of the man in charge. I've said this it doesn't matter. You could have the best manager in the world. We could sack Ange and get Pep. Well, I wouldn't say Pep's the best manager at the world at the moment, but we could have had Pep in his prime. Would he have won all the stuff he won with us while Levy's in charge? No, he wouldn't.
No,
he wouldn't.
Right. I think the board have to stick with him. I don't think they've got no choice.
The board's the problem, though, Adrian.
Sorry?
The board is the problem.
Well, they're the problem. But the point is you have to look at the situation from us as fans, right? The board are the problem, right? But, right, if you expect we've got two youngsters coming in soon, him and Hook and...
Yeah, so what?
Right, we got them coming in. Yeah, and how many signings do you think we're going to make in January? And
probably none. Probably none.
Why are you accepting that?
We need a left back. If on Ali goal, which surprised me that Bergvall he sees him as a number 6. Well,
never.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't actually say that. He said he could play as a number 6. He said,
said he could
because Bissouma's injured. He said, will he play Archie Gray there, or the only other one it could be a number 6 as like Bergvall or something along that lines. It wasn't like Ange sees him as a number 6.
See the way I see the situation at the club is we'd be lucky to get 2 players in January. Lucky. We need a left back more than anything else. Ange just said he doesn't want to block the path of Ashley Phillips or Luka Vuskovic, right? So I don't think we're going to go for a centre back. Right, he did say that previous to the injuries to Romero and VDV, though. So in case he's changed his mind, right? And to me, we need another number 9. And it looks
isn't that a loser mentality?
Well,
waiting for Ashley Phillips to come through. So if Van der Ven and Romero are injured, we're not going to buy no one because we're waiting for 2 kids to hopefully come through.
That's just my perception. They may go and get one. I don't think they will. I mean. It looks like Jonathan David's back on the scene now. It's not a player that, not for me, to be honest, not for me. I wanted Vlahovic, before we got Solanke in, but that's just me. But I was one of your
Jonathan David, who James will know, I rate and was going on about last time because of his adaptability and where he can play. This is just typical Tottenham feeding this before a transfer window. And do you know why this might go through this time? But in January, he can come for free. His contract up in the summer. 3 years we've been looking for him. He's been doing very well in France this season. Every season we've been doing it, his value drops. And now he can go in January. He can start talking to clubs to come on free.
Yeah. So if
I don't know, he's another Damiel. Mate,
yeah, but as you're suggesting, top clubs are not going to come in for David because they think they won't. So Spurs might probably get him. I mean, I put this up earlier, and people in the chat, if everybody thinks I would never go out my way to mislead people, but this was from the transfer market, Brian. If you hadn't seen it, I mean, this season we spent 272 points. This was the 223-24 season. We spent 272.10 mil. Sales were 120.70. So the net spend was 151, right? Point whatever. So far this season, we spent 93.5. So the net spend has been, since Ange has been in, 244. Now that 122 mil has been our average spend since the stadium opened. That's what it's been. But if you add the 272 to the 151.4, it is 420 odd mil that have actually spent.
What has that spending got us? In quality, in genuine Premier League quality.
Well,
No.
it hasn't. We've got in one oven-ready player in Solanke, who I was about, right? Didn't know a lot about him. I've watched a lot of players. I just missed him. Just didn't know nothing about him, right? And we brought in 3 kids for 100 mil. So, you know, whatever their prices were in these fees. But we have actually had a net spend. I mean, there's no way. When people said we spent 400 mil under Ange, I thought that don't sound like Levy. I'll go and check this out, right?
I don't think it was that much. Because
maybe it wasn't.
Dominic Solanke was 60, Gray was 40, and Bergvall was 7. But I think Bergvall
8.5. Then
only with add-ons, not only with add-ons.
You got Odegaard as well, James.
Oh, Odegaard. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no.
But even with that, that's sort of like 125 million. That means that we've only got rid of 20 million's worth of transfers.
Well, you say that. What you've got to remember as well, James, is the Højbjerg money is going to come in at the end of the season.
Yeah, Lo Celso
and the Gil and the Lo Celso.
Gil, yeah. So I suppose it's a bit misleading because really, you would think you're going to get 30 million back of that ish. So you're down to 60 million net spend. So again, 60 million net spend. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's not good enough, is it? That's really. What do you expect?
I mean,
60 million net spend and saving 40 million a year in wages. So really, you spent 20 million because you saved 40 million this year in wages.
Well, you need to see. Well, we need to see. I used to go to all the financial reports, but
I think Ali Gold said it was just over 40 million a year in wages. So if we're going to go by what he said about last,
I'm not doubting the wage bill. I'm not doubting about it because
but that's what I'm saying. So if you work out what he saved in a year,
this season last year was 252.1 million, I think, if my memory serves me right.
I said it will be on Tottenham TV. Sorry, Joe. I'm just saying. I've said it will be on Tottenham TV. I know James's answer. There's not one player that we've bought since this stadium opened that we couldn't have signed at White Hart Lane. Not one. The wages have gone down. Could have paid the wages.
And we wouldn't have spent them. We may have wasted the money, right? If we spent 600 to, depending on the reports, to 685 mil before Ainge come in on 29 players, Brian, on 29 players, right? It wouldn't work out much a player, probably about 20 odd mil or something, right?
Yeah, but they say inflation is 5. They say inflation since we moved has gone up by 5 times the amount. Didn't we sign Luka Modric for like 28 million? Is it 28 or 26 million?
16 mil.
16. So who was 26? Was it Berbatov that was 26? Someone was 26.
Berbatov, I don't think it was 26.
Who did we sign? Maybe I'm wrong.
Repeat it again.
Signed, in my opinion, 2 world-class players in history. One, was Jurgen Klinsmann, right? 2. Others went on to be world-class. Even our dealers and Villa, we didn't really know what they were until they come. You know what I mean? So Jurgen Klinsmann was 1, and the other one was Jimmy Greaves. And that's it. We've had players that have gone on to be world-class. Bale, Modric,
But I don't expect us to sign world class either. I don't know about you, but I don't expect us to sign world class. To be honest, I would take good. I'd take very good players that have potential to be world class. Listen, I know people say, Tottenham Hotspur, we should be here, we should be there. We are not a giant. I don't expect us to go out and pick the top of the top. But what I do expect is us not to moan over 10, 15 million for Nico Williams, and then he goes to the Euros, rips it up, and his value goes up to 70 million. And we're like, we now can't afford that guy, but we could have got him for half the price.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's not about going out and buying the best of the best. It's about taking the opportunity to buy people and actually make that opportunity turn into that. We did it with Bale, Kane, Van der Vaart. All right, he had a bit of recognition, so he doesn't count. But Luka Modric, Berbatov, Defoe, none of these players were world class when they come in.
No.
So it's one of those things that I mean, other people may be different. Other people may demand world class. I'm not stupid enough to sit here and say, look, I think we should be signing everyone 100 million plus. But what I am saying is, you can't be giving Ange to this guy that's going to rebuild our whole system and saying, you know what? Yeah, you can have Odegaard, Gray, and Bergvall. Crack on, because that is not acceptable.
I mean, it's not even. In all seriousness, I don't mean to hijack. It's not even worth you can keep going round about, and not just you, I mean all channels, I mean all people in the pub, all social, saying, yeah, this is the money that's spent, this is the money, we all know it. It's being spent really big up, little bro. We all know it's been spent badly. There is absolutely no way of looking at it that money has been spent badly time after time after time after time. I think the easiest example I'll give you, when Jose Mourinho came to this football club, don't talk about his footballing style. If you actually believe that Jose Mourinho turned around to Daniel Levy and said, get me Matt Doherty, then I can't help you. If you think that Jose Mourinho said, yep, do you know what? This is what I need. Get me Joe Rodon.
He did get Lo Celso signed up.
Mate, but that was Pochettino. Pochettino brought him in, then Spurs activated.
He was on loan. He was on loan. Mourinho got him
signed. He was obligation.
It was obligation. He was going to sign, but he came in for Poch, as did Tanguy. If you think Mauricio Pochettino said, get me Jack Clark, when we hadn't signed anyone for 3 years or 3 windows, or best part of 2 windows and Luke Small, it doesn't matter how many times we go around this. Ange Postecoglou has come out and said, I win things in my second year. If you're telling me that Ange Postecoglou sat down and said, I'm going to win something in the English Premier League, or in England, sorry, not the English Premier League, get me Timo Werner, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall. Don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to Spurs signing youth. I've actually advocated it. But you can't keep doing this. You cannot.
Yeah,
we get these players that get sold in 2 years, they'd be great. And then 18 months down the line, we'll buy more players that will get told in 2 years they'd be great. And then we'll sign after the window, we'll sign another youngster and say, do you know what, in a few years he's to be great. We're always, when you've had those games I remember these books as a kid. James,
I agree.
If you want to fight the goblin, turn to page 76, or if you want to do this, roll the dice, and if you get, it's what we do. It's what we do. You can't keep talking about money spent. It's spent badly.
And it's the fact that you look at it, right? You bring in Gray, Bergvall, Odegaard, Vuskovic is coming in, Youngman Hook's coming in. That's 5, right? It's 5 young players with one oven-ready player, Solanke, right? 6, right? And then the issue is with either people, hang about, what about the players in the squad we've got that people seem to think are seasoned pros, which aren't, that are under 24 years of age? You've got Udogie, you've got VDV, right? You've got Sarr, right? You've got Johnson, right? These players are still developing, and we've brought in another 5 youngsters on top of them. And like Udogie, I think, has got a fantastic ceiling, but he's been crap this season, right?
And last season was crap. Let's be honest.
Adrian, can I jump in? Sorry, man, I'm falling asleep. I gotta go.
All
right, mate.
Pick up. Later, I've got
Paul.
Myself, and then we're all drinking.
Yeah. Well, if you've only got 10 minutes, I can stay to.
I've got 12 minutes.
Right. Okay. Slight change of subject, we'll take it off Spurs now. I'm sure we'll cover all this again, right? Right. This, I've had to split it up into 3 sections, right? But bear with me, right? I'm going to read this out. Man City's 150 charges, right? This is 5 sections. Section 1, 50 time charge, 54 charges, failure to provide accurate information, 2009-10, something like that. Yeah? Charge 2, 14 times the charges on this. Failure to provide accurate financial details for player and management payments from 2009-10. Right? Let's get to the next 3 sections. Section 3, 5 times failure to comply with UEFA rules, including financial fair play from 2013-14 to 2017-18. 4, 7 charges, breaching Premier League PSR rules 2015-16, 2017-18. Now the last part. Man City, 5, 35 times failure to cooperate with Premier League investigations, December 2008 to February 2023. Right, now, I like bringing facts to you guys. Just want to throw this in before this goes, in case everybody thinks a team of lawyers is going to get them off all of these. I mean, these charges are very serious, because when you look at the points deduction that Everton, and Forest got, and these haven't even gone. Now, I'm presuming they will get found guilty on some of these, right? That's why they've been piled on. I mean, this is serious, and I think Chelsea are facing even bigger problems than Man City, which would make me snigger. I tell you, I will laugh, right? Brian, what's your take? Now that you know what the charges are, what's your take?
My serious take, Adrian? I couldn't care less. I could not care less. Listen, if
I care.
Listen, what? How does this Man City get a huge points deduction, get relegated, blah blah blah? They've had what 8 years of the 8 years of their life.
You're being very negative. We'll go from 12th to 11th.
Chelsea, the most successful club over the last 20 years, and London club. And I'm sitting here going, woohoo, Manchester City are going to get that. If someone could say, could Tottenham be in Manchester City's position? And that would have given me the 8 years of 6 titles, FA Cups,
4 in a row,
Champions League, 4 in a row, 100 points, 100 goals. Sign me up. Sign me up. Listen, they found loopholes. They're going to get punished, but listen, is it fair that Everton and other teams have been punished before these two? Of course it's not. But I don't care what happens to Man City. Will I laugh if they get relegated and everything? Absolutely. Will it affect my life in any way? Or what happens? Then we'll have people going, aren't you glad you got Levy? Aren't you glad because we're all so clever that... No. I listen, Manchester City, listen, if you don't do the crime, can't do the time.
I get all that, you see, but even going to Chelsea, right? Roman Abramovich, before he came to this country, right? All right, he comes in, pumps millions into the economy. Normally you get a knighthood or a seat in the House of Lords for that, right? But when he wanted British citizenship, they turned him down. This was before all the war in Ukraine and all that. So that told me something straight away. The government sit on dodgy characters and they don't move unless it's, politically expedient for them to move on them. Then they'll move on them, right? Then the war in Ukraine comes, it's associated. He's had to give up a football club for nothing, walk away, losing, I don't know, $1 billion or $2 billion, right? Walk away from that football club and sell it on cheap, right? Whatever. And then we go back and we hear about, part of the Man City, we hear about Chelsea trying to sell the hotel from one of their companies to another company to get around final fair play. We get to hear about third party. It's all sub judice at the moment because they've been charged. When William was coming to Spurs, he eventually goes to Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. And part of his wages, all of his wages paid by a third party company, right? Stuff like that. Now, if you prove that they gained by getting that signing, they're getting punished anyway. Todd Bowley's already admitted that there's financial irregularities in the account, which has opened up all this can of worms. I actually think Chelsea are in a worse situation, or an equal situation as Man City are. And do I think these clubs should be punished for cheating? Yes, I fucking do. Yes, I do.
I just don't get what that's got to do with Tottenham, though. I don't get how that affects Tottenham in the slightest.
Well, you partly alluded to it earlier, James, when you joked about 12th to 11th, because in theory, it's not the way I'd want it to happen. In theory, we could finish 7th and still end up in the Champions League if those two teams got relegated with lots of points.
But for me, you're clinching on to someone's downfall to make you better.
No, I'm not. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not.
Yeah, but that's if we finish 8th and get pushed up to 7th and get Europa League because of somebody else, I will still be just as pissed off at Daniel Levy and Ange for being in that position in the first place.
Yeah. You look at it. These clubs by the league.
We finished in top 6 with the squad we got.
These legal teams, they find the biggest, baddest legal teams that will make the FA or the Premier League run around in circles because they're playing the game and they've invested heavily in their club. Rightly or wrongly, they've invested heavily. We have an owner that wanted to get ready for what's it called? What was the first one before FFP? Then we were so far ahead of that we had to get ready for the next one, and we're probably preparing for the next one even though we have the big advantage to spend now.
Agreed.
These teams find the loopholes to invest in their clubs so much and bring glory to their fans. And what I will say as well, in defence of Manchester City, what those owners have done for their area of Manchester, for schools, education, they've done a lot. Listen, they're very, very. Listen, I'm not getting political or anything. They've done a lot, but in football, they pumped millions into the area of Manchester. 100 Levy has around the stadium, but these guys have brought unbridled, unrivaled success that even people your age haven't seen at Tottenham on the regularity. They've won more in their time than we've won in God knows how long.
It's very likely that they'll be proven to doing it by cheating.
But listen, again, I
just don't understand. I just don't understand what you're trying to convince us that Man
I'm not
City
trying to convince you anything. You have your own opinions. I'd never do that with anyone. I never browbeat people at all. I just don't. Do it. But no. To me, if they've cheated, right? What, you let them off then? You let them off.
I don't understand how this affects Tottenham.
If I said to you beforehand, Adrian, before all this kicked off,
it's affected Tottenham over years, isn't it? If they cheated, who would have said Man City would have won all the trophies and had spent all the money they spent? Who would have said Chelsea would have won everything they won if they hadn't spent? Listen, those two clubs have cheated. You can allegedly, right?
So what do you want? Do you want us to be given a Carling Cup then? Is that what you want?
No,
do you want us to go?
No,
that's what I mean. So what does it make? It doesn't matter. Even if we got beaten a final from them, if they actually said, you know what, we're taking away that cup final, giving it to Tottenham, you know how disgusted I would be.
I wouldn't want it. You're changing this. I don't want it. But at the same instance, these clubs should be punished. The whole point is all part of the level playing field, right?
If
every club have had the money that Chelsea and Man City had, right, they'd have probably all done better. What they did, they've distorted the playing field through their malpractices. They've distorted the playing field.
The Premier League's corrupt. They're all corrupt.
Well, that's a different case again. We're talking about these two clubs in our league. But
the league's corrupt. We can't moan at two clubs for being corrupt when the league is corrupt.
Adrian, when Man City came up and they got Adrian, when Man City got bought out, and before these charges became official, 115 charges, blah, blah, blah.
Is it Pellegrino and Mancini era?
Well, whatever it was, would you not, before these charges came up and before it got found out, would you not have wanted to live the life that Manchester City and Chelsea have been doing as a Spurs fan? Would you, if Abramovich had come to Spurs because he tried to buy Spurs and had bought Spurs and gave Spurs the successful time that Chelsea had, but then this happened, would you say you'd rather not have this happen and have all those memories taken away and trophies? Or would you have said...
I would be very uncomfortable with it, Brian. Very uncomfortable.
Okay, you're old
school. For me, if I take it away from football and put it into my own personal life, if someone said to me, right, you've got 30 years to live, you can do everything you've ever dreamt of, everything you've ever wanted for the next 30 years, or I'll let you live for 200 years and you're going to do nothing for the next... It's all going to be miserable for the next 200 years. I'll pick the 30 years and live happily and do everything I've ever dreamed of in those 30 years and live out to the max. And then I'll suffer the early death or blah, blah, blah.
If you made it 30, James, and even something more realistic than 200.
Interesting analogy to condone what they've done. And we know what's happened here. I mean, because UEFA tried to do Man City before, but the statute of limitations run out. The Premier League haven't got one, right? They'll probably introduce one.
But didn't UEFA got done as well, though? Didn't they get prosecuted? And the FA?
No, when Platini was involved with me, he got done for corruption, didn't he? And we know FIFA
That's
got
what I mean.
So Matar and all that, right?
We are all part of that, and they're being corrupt. So for me, if teams are being corrupt and getting away with it, then it is what it is. And again, I don't see how this affects Spurs too much.
You look at all the other... What about the teams that have been relegated then? But since that happened then? What about... So you've got all the knock-on effects of what happened for the rest of the teams in the league, right?
Mate, before we go there, it happened with Sheffield United and West Ham.
Yeah, it did. because that was over Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascherano, right? Because they were ringers all season, and Sheffield United got £1 million in compensation for West Ham. And the only reason West Ham never got fucking relegated or nothing like that is because West Ham have been very close to the FA, right? And they got off lightly, right? And the same happened with Arsenal when John Jensen was signed for Bromley from René Hort, right? And George Graham was given £100,000 in his bank account, which he was later investigated for $565,000 in a Channel Island bank account. And the reason they got off and he lost his job because David Dean was not only vice chairman of Arsenal, he was vice chairman of the FA, and they got away with murder.
I need to go spend time with wifey.
Okay,
I need to go spend time with wifey. So I'm gonna go.
I'll play you out. We'll end it there, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Later. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Yeah, we can carry on. I mean, like, and the reason I get the ump over this, James, because I've been following this club over 6 decades, and I remember when Sugar come over and he said to the FA, I was something wrong with their books and all that. And Spurs had given 3 bungs. It was Mitchell Thomas, Clive Allen. I can't remember the other player, right? But they declared it on the tax returns, right? So they hadn't done anything criminal, Tottenham. So when we went to the tribunal, Spurs got deducted 12 points, were fined $750,000, and were kicked out of the FA Cup. Sugar took it to court or tribunal again. We got 12 points back. We were reinstated in the FA Cup, and we got fined £1.5 million, which was a lot of money back then, because the club coming around them FA Cup years nearly went skint anyway, right? And with us, that happened. Recently, Arsenal got done for signing that centre-back from Southampton because they didn't use a proper registered agent in it. What happened to them? They got a $60,000 fine. And the reason I get the ump is because when it's come to this club and we get stitched up, not the first time, we got stitched up when Arsenal got in a first division years ago, 1920, right? So when that happens, yeah, I am riled and I want justice. And I want justice not for us, but the rest of the teams in the league over this. Because it's not a level playing field. This is why Newcastle are worth about 36 billion with their owners. Can't go out on a mad spend. You can spend as much money as you like in your infrastructure. You could build 10 stadiums. That doesn't count. But football-related expenditure and your cost occurring to that, like wages against transfer fees and all that, have to be taken from your total sum. Then the balance is what you pay. They broke the rules left, right, and centre. These. Right, broke the rules. There wouldn't be that many charges if they haven't got them banged to rights. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if the league's corrupt if they get off, right? Because I know we can only allege this. It hasn't gone to court. It's all sub judice at the moment. But, to me, it makes me fume when I've seen how this club's been treated, my club, in the past. And that West Ham can get away with it. Arsenal can get away with it. And now, if Man City and Chelsea get away with this, I mean, I can only think the reason Chelsea haven't been charged. This is Man City is supposed to be finalised the end of this season, right? Then a decision will be made on their fate. The Chelsea thing, the only I can think of with the hotel, they wanted to sell to one of their other companies, the improper payments, the same here as Man City. I can only think that they're just finding out more and more stuff. I think the government could probably hand them enough stuff. What they've got on Abramovich, they could probably hand him enough stuff. Money laundering in London, So we'll see, or whether it gets hushed up. But it just because of what's happened to us in the past, and it's broke the level playing field for the rest of the clubs. Who's to say one of these other clubs, not us, might have won a League Cup or an FA Cup, rather than Chelsea and Man City have won most trophies, over the last years. It's just. That's me coming as an old school Spurs fan, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If we'd had great success, like you said, I would be very uncomfortable with it because I know what would happen, right? Like Brian said, it's all right if you don't get caught. Well, it ain't all right if you don't get caught because it ain't all right in the first place that it should even be allowed to happen, right? But, that's business, isn't it? There's always corruption where there's money. So, yeah. That's my little rant anyway.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. All right then, mate. I've got to shoot as well now.
Right, I'll play us out then. I just want to thank everyone, right? All my guests, all you that bother to stick with us in the channel, and thank all those that bother to watch us on playback. And I'll play you with this. And then there was one.
No, well, like I said, Romero, it's not like he re-injured, the same thing. It's a totally different injury. But also people, I'm sure, are aware of our situation. It's not like I got a multitude of options there. So, you know, you've got to make these decisions. And both players trained well. And, yeah. And look, they both want to help, you know, so you make these decisions with all the best information. Like I said, if it's not like Romero re-injured his toe, it's a totally different injury.